Hello! Welcome back to the 007 First Light Deepest Dive. We're talking about the game in its entirety today, the third and final chapter here. I'm Leo Vader. As I introduce, which again, spoilers are on for the whole game. You can listen and play along with the earlier parts if you don't want to jump right into full spoilers here. But let's go with most common comment as I introduce you. Haley MacLean, what do you think was the most common comment that our patrons sent in at the $2 tier or above for the 007 First Light Deepest Dive this week?
Gotta be trying to figure out, like, all the switch ups. Like, I'm evil. No, I'm evil. Now I'm back. Can you believe this? I also was cutting a piece of paper so I could do da 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 da.
Oh,
yo,
cool.
awesome.
It's gotta be that, right, Leo?
I can't say. Jacob Geller, what do you think?
Hi, Leo. I think it's just the word Lorca and the emoji of the head exploding. Of everyone just being like, oh my god!
Hot Lorca.
Jeff Marchiafava, what would you say?
Greenway.
And
And that's all you need to say.
Yes. Special guest from Easy Allies, Michael Huber, rounding out the cast.
Yo.
What do you think was the most common comment?
Can I guess two?
Sure.
Either Vietnam or the Aston Martin. One of those.
I think Jeff Marchiafava got it right last time, too. It is mostly, I believe the most comments here are about the end of Greenway's character,
Greenway!
which I can't wait to talk about.
Yeah.
Here's a common comment in my brain right off the bat. Do you guys know that Greenway is played by Lenny James, who is a storied, illustrious career? I didn't realize that he's the pawn shop owner from Snatch, which was like one of my high school favorite movies ever. Like a movie I've watched 24 times, and he's like a big character. And then I watched Snatch again this week and was like, oh my god, there he is, but 25 years younger.
He's alive.
Epic.
Yeah. I certainly feel like I've seen him in a million things and could not remember what they were, but he won me over with this.
Walking Dead.
Oh. Sure.
What have you seen The Walking Dead?
Morgan James.
Yeah, what do you believe he was in 55 episodes of it, Haley?
Yeah, right.
I only
And I'll
watched-
Fear the Walking Dead, of course.
I was
Another,
too
like,
scared
50
to watch
episodes.
that show. When they killed that horse in episode 1, I was like, I'm out.
That's it.
No more.
Spoilers!
Yeah, thank you. I would love to just start with how we're feeling now that we've beaten the game, how we feel about it overall, this big final chunk here. Do we think it came together well? Did it change how we're feeling about it? Are we still pretty positive on it?
I'm very positive. I think this is just like the easiest, like that game is an 8+ easily. You know, not like a 10 out of 10, didn't set the world on fire for me, you know, not like an absolute perfect 10 out of 10, but I think it's just like such a great summer blockbuster action adventure game. Nothing but praise for it, and just fully on board with their take on Bond for however long they want to do it. Like already itching for the DLC, itching for more tax sim updates, itching for a sequel. Like this is such a good first step.
A first light even.
First
Wait,
Light.
First light even, yep.
We really
Yep.
did get in this section a lot of little character defining things for Bond that make me excited to play as this Bond in further iterations for sure. I feel a lot more attached to him now, even more than I was.
Yeah.
I felt like I was I think I was hottest. If you listen to this deepest dive, the beginning, I was like figuring it out. The middle, I was super high on it. And the end, I'm kind of back to I was a little whelmed by this ending. You know, it didn't make me mad at it, but I also was not, I still think my favorite part of the game was basically the middle, and the end. I was kind of like, yep, that's how it ends, rather than being like, wow, oh my gosh. Except obviously when Lorca walked out of the pool, as we'll talk about.
Wow!
Wow, oh my gosh! I remember going into this thinking, this is the perfect combo of dev and IP. And then I was like, okay, that's a really high bar for them to have to meet. And I think they met it. I agree. I don't think it's 10 out of 10, but I think they did a great job of using the skills they have with combining with the specific IP. And they did just a great job. The things that stuck out for me the most, I think, are the writing. I think the writing was fantastic. And I ended up liking this characters way more. I usually am kind of like, I could take or leave Bond as a character. I'm kind of like, isn't he one of the worst men ever? But then he got better through the decades. So I was like, okay, that's okay then. But this is like my favorite rendition of Bond. Like this is, when I think of James Bond, problematic to say, I think I'll think of this one from now on instead of the movie ones, which I don't know if a lot of people would agree with me with that, but just because I really liked him.
Yeah. He ranks highly for me too, Haley. Well said. Yeah. Honestly, after one game, all of a sudden rising to that legacy of this character, just immediately being a fan favorite Bond, that's awesome.
Mm-hmm. And it ends on such a note that kind of solidified that feeling for me. I don't mean to jump to the literally last line of the game, but when he finally gets called 007 and he's just like, okay, Mom, I'm like, wow, I really love him. Like, I'm excited to see him again. I like him as a character a lot.
Yeah, I still really liked everything. By the end, I was like, had a great time. I wonder if I played it again in 5 years, if I'll be as hot on it. I think it was kind of, I noticed myself kind of it being easy for me to overlook things that I might be more critical just because I was having such a fun time. But like, there was a lot towards the end of like boss fights and QTEs and kind of some clunky stuff going on there that ultimately I didn't mind that much. And I was still having fun at this point. But if I played it again in 5 years, I would like to see my own reaction to it and be like, I might be like, what the hell was I thinking back then? But
sure.
Yeah, lots of... A big part of it still is I'm just blown away and so happy for IO for doing such a bang up job in the first place that I'm happy to overlook some clunkiness stuff that was going on in this section.
Yeah, definitely turning some heads for sure. The comments in our Deepest Dive Google Doc here are a little split, more positive than negative, I think, but definitely had some of both. Plotpoint said, currently my game of the year, thoroughly enjoyed it from start to finish. I haven't stopped thinking about it since I finished it. What fascinates me after going through the Craig films is how clearly First Light feels built from their deconstruction. Craig's films deconstructed Bond for a more modern world, making him more vulnerable, damaged, and emotionally repressed. First Light went in not needing to reprove any of that. Instead, it asks what Bond looks like once that reconstruction is complete. To me, it feels less nostalgic and more like Bond's natural evolution for a new generation. Which I'd agree with.
That's a great comment.
But meanwhile, Gotham Guardian says, I'm glad most people seem to have enjoyed this game, but I was pretty disappointed with it. None of the action set pieces really stood out compared to what Uncharted was doing 10 years ago. Bond seemed to avoid wearing suits and actual disguises almost out of spite to the Hitman fans. Wow. The story was incredibly rote. I know the tax sim will get lots of support in the future, but it felt unfinished at launch with so few missions. I enjoyed it all right, but I think for me personally, this would have been a better purchase down the line versus the $70 price tag here.
It's a fair comment.
But the suit, you earn it at the end. You know? And then, honestly, Leo, I'm excited for you to talk about the challenges because I actually think completing every single challenge is a really cool reward. You get that suit. You get the 00 secret agent suit that you can wear anywhere. And it's like, oh, he looks so good in that. It's such a good one.
That's one for 100%ing every level?
Yeah, well, you have to get every challenge done for the whole game. And then you unlock that.
Cool. Yeah. That's cool.
That's really fun, but then it's a bummer that now you're done the game, so you don't want to wear it.
You have nothing to really use it for, but maybe for the DLC, then you can wear it in the DLC or something.
Can I ask a dumb Taxim question?
Yeah.
When I start Taxim, and I go to the wardrobe thing, all of the outfits are locked off, and they say for Taxim only. And I think, aren't I in there? Isn't that what I'm doing?
It says you can only wear some of those in Taxim, and then they're locked because you have to finish some challenges to like get a bunch of them.
Okay, so
yeah,
but it doesn't say the challenge on the outfit.
No,
it should.
It would be nice, but it is the outfit from the corresponding level, pretty much usually.
Got it. Okay,
it's for 100%ing that level, or it's for getting putting in the code under your caffeine-free Coca-Cola cap.
James Bond's favorite drink.
That's right. Which I want to find this here. Jumpo wrote in something interesting. I love the music that's playing in Q-Lab just before the start of the mission. This is where we're picking up here. When you get back to Q-Lab, before you head out to Vietnam, there's that transitional section with Moneypenny, and you're kind of being disavowed in a classic spy way. Jumpo wrote, love the music is playing in Q-Lab. It's from a real and niche group called the Cro-Magnon Band. Q has good taste. And also, bonus note, the Coca-Cola branding on the vending machines isn't in the UK version. Instead, they're just a generic red vending machine.
Whoa.
Interesting.
I wonder if they have generic car brands. Here's a weird thing. This is just kind of a strange note, but people have been discussing it on the subreddit. Have you guys heard about the kind of weird music stuff going on with this game?
No.
That they have been changing around the use of the main Lana Del Rey theme. Where, like, everything from in the main menu, where initially when you logged in, it would go da-na-na-na, it would give you the kind of like theme song thing, and now it just does da-na, kind of like the standard James Bond 2 does instead of the 4. But more significantly, in the boat chase, in the Antarctica, when you're going through there, they originally had a song that was playing like motifs from the Lana song, and it's not in there anymore, and it's just kind of a generic action song, and it's very weird for it almost seems like a licensing thing, but it's like the game just came out. What is the purpose for changing these things?
Like they didn't realize that they
DMCA
didn't have the license to
issues.
use it in a different place than that part of the game?
Yeah, something like, I mean, I truly do not know, but it's like patches have changed the presence of that song in the game, which is just very
so
weird.
strange.
And a deepest dive thing to know, because this is the deepest, most thorough discussion of the game on the internet, of course.
Do you think it has to do with
Deep
people posting clips or streaming, so they wanted to change it or something?
That's an interesting question. If using the motif was getting it like copyright flagged by the Del Rey estate, I don't know.
Which is weird though, because you'd figure if she did the song for the game, they would be able to use it. Like you're making a Bond song.
Yeah, I mean, it's all completely speculation. I have no idea if it's licensing related at all. I just think it's weird that it's being moved around.
Yeah. Haley, can you sue them for information on that?
Not quite how suing works, but I like the spirit.
Can you do a Freedom of Information Act?
Yeah.
for an internal commercial corporate issue.
Yeah.
We should try.
Lawyer at them, please.
I will.
So, chapter in Vietnam, Time to Die is where we pick up, where we're heading to the Pearl, that
I was
luxury
a bit nervous
resort.
of that being the name of the mission going in, not gonna lie. I
Understandable.
said, oh, really? Uh-oh.
But it turns out it's time to die for a bunch of unnamed goons
Yep.
at the resort. It starts with a nice
Beautiful
boat ride in,
resort.
yeah.
Oh, I did the thing like, do you guys know when you check into a really nice hotel and you're like, what's in the room? And you like do a loop and you're like, I'm going to go walk around the pool and see like what we're dealing with this week. And I literally felt like I was on vacation at this Vietnam resort, and I did a loop to figure out where I want to sit later.
I wrote down Bond goes to White Lotus. Like, truly, that is what this felt, especially with all the staff being like, we are here to do everything for you, Mr. Wait, what was his
They're posted
name?
up everywhere. Smite.
St. John
John
Smythe.
Smythe.
St. John, as he pronounces St. John.
St. John Smythe.
Which
It also reminded
British
me of that Hitman level. They added like a DLC level at one time. Do you remember this, Leo? It reminded me of that one.
Haven
It's
Island.
like that resort. Yeah, there it is. Yeah.
Yeah, and yet was on your
Reminded me a
boat
lot.
ride, you'll recognize the boats there from the Ambrose Island level.
Not the actually finger. I've actually
Couldn't wait for that one. Mr. Buttons writes in on the St. John Smythe thing. Bond's alias in this chapter is St. John Smythe, but he always introduces himself as St. John Smythe. The pronunciation was throwing me off, so I decided to look into why he does this. Turns out that the name St. John has traditionally been pronounced as St. John by aristocratic and upper-class British circles. Nowadays, it's considered
Interesting.
posh and generally signifies an association with old money and social pedigree. The more you know. Which this Bond does have a little bit of that background, but also would just be taking it on to sell the character. So unclear which.
Yeah, I mean, I always think of the in Casino Royale when Vesper says, you know, it's like your watch is expensive, but you wear it with such disdain. which feels like that's kind of the Bond thing. Though I did wonder, whenever he like knew something about art history in this game, I was like, did he get that from his like, air service training? He's just a very cultured man who knows
just an enthusiast.
Like, poetry and art and sculpture and stuff.
Right. He plays the piano.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was nice.
In Antarctica.
If he wasn't a spy, he'd be such a good actor on stage, like a stage actor. He'd be like the best.
Mm-hmm. And I still am hungry for that a bit more backstory still of how he ended up where he did at the start of this game.
Yeah.
With all his skills.
Oh my god, the possibilities are so endless for the story and stuff. I can't wait to get into it.
Did you guys listen to like every conversation on the resort? I would just, because there's some that were eavesdrop and what felt like a dozen extra that were just, if you want to hang out and listen to this couple talk about how much they love the resort, there's nothing really to be earned by it, but it was
and how hot you are.
And how gorgeous the guy walking around is.
Yep.
Everyone says that. I still can't believe how often people go, all right, handsome, your room's here. Pretty man.
Which up until
Shout
now,
out.
The yoga ladies especially were
Oh my god,
over the top.
They were losing. There was like they were watching Elvis in 1950.
I actually stood there watching them, like the yoga performance or whatever, and they just like stopped. They just like didn't do anything. I was like, come on, go through like a whole routine here.
You made them
the
shy.
class the guy was teaching.
You made them nervous.
Among the famous guests there, we should point out that Kabi Lame Mame, the guy who points out obvious stuff from TikTok was there, which was kind of a like, from me. I was
jarring,
it was just kind of like, I guess IO likes this guy and licensed his likeness for this game.
Yeah.
Right. Garrett Hullfish wrote in saying that was the only thing in this game that seemed dated and made me feel how long this game was in development. Which is
not
fair.
any of the AI stuff. The one TikTok reference. I love that.
Right.
Shout out to
The AI
one of
stuff
the
was not dated.
coolest. One of the coolest Bond moments. So fun. Just tying the bow tie. Shout out to that little like mini game bow tie vibe.
Oh, that's a easy submission for best thing at the end of the year. The QTE, as someone who has a really hard time tying things myself, I love that it was like, this is as difficult as fighting off a knife die. This is just like tying a bow tie correctly.
Yeah,
I was sad
such
that
a
they
fun
cut
moment.
away though. Like when the actual tying was happening, they kind of panned away because I wanted.
They can't
I was kind of
process that.
curious.
it's
How
not The Last of Us Part
polygons,
2
it's-
here.
I was like,
Come on.
yeah, Naughty Dog needed to step in for sure.
Not all of you did say, hey, leave him alone. I just would have liked to watch.
They honestly, they should have just done live action. They should have had the actor there
hands
and
cut
actually being filmed and have him
That'd be
tie it.
awesome.
Yeah, Daisy wrote in, it's a small moment, but I love the bow tie QTEs. James quips about how it's more complicated than disarming a bomb, and it absolutely is. I always managed to craft interactive humor throughout First Light. More of this, please. Yeah, interactive humor is awesome.
Is it that hard to tie a bow tie? Anyone have experience bow tie tying?
I've never
On the
messed with
call?
a bow tie
It's
personally.
it is way harder than tying a traditional tie, which I already find quite difficult.
Yeah, I think it was a pretty realistic look at it.
Yeah.
I definitely hung
speaking-
out in his apartment for a long time and was like, all right, where's the bar? I wish, because like you can pour drinks like in the first apartment part. You can like take a drink when you get there. And I think he even says like, all right, nice bar or something like that. So I really
Free
enjoyed
pair
that.
of like AirPods or whatever they call them in this game. It was like complimentary AirPods at this place. I was like, Jesus, how much is
Yeah.
a night?
Yeah.
Speaking of drinking, there was when he orders a drink, they give him something called the Faux King Champ, or the like PHO King, and I was like, is this just kind of a joke? Like, are we just getting a drink called the Champ?
Yeah.
Oh my God, I didn't even clock that. That's really funny.
Okay, nice.
Are
Yeah.
you
Have
gonna
some fun,
bleep
though.
just the second time Jacob said it, or both times, Leo?
Only the last time he really enunciated it.
King.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pho. The dish, yeah. I was like, is there more to this
You're in
than
Vietnam.
I'm getting right now? Because it seems kind of lowbrow, but there's a few of those in here for sure. On the villa thing, Raleigh wrote in, upon arriving at my gorgeous hotel villa, I couldn't help but notice there was a pair of sunglasses and a glass of champagne at one of the seats by my private pool. Investigating the villa further, I noticed another glass of champagne by the couches, and I became convinced that IOI was subtly foreshadowing that Isola would be joining us on this mission, posing as our wife, a classic Bond trope. But now that I know she didn't show up, I'll be complaining to management we spend too much on that villa for it to not be fully cleaned before our arrival.
I also thought like his wife or mistress would have been up there and been like, who are you? I thought that's what was going to be the gag. And I'd have to be like, oh, a cleaner, and like get away with it or something.
They were just leaving him champagne wherever he might go. You know, if he went to the pool, there's some champagne there.
Right.
God, that service. That's good.
I did think Bond's best look in this game was when he was wearing his little glasses. Like, not the sunglasses, just his, like, nighttime glasses. I was like, this is... He really...
White tux.
He was knocked up to another level of hotness with that, and the white tux looked great.
So
but I think it was like the glasses were doing something to his, like, he's almost too pretty, and so then this give him a little like visual interest on his face.
Accessibility.
It was working for me.
I also liked the clean white tee when he was on the boat with Isola later on, just like chilling with her. It was like nice casual look, James.
Yeah, he's looking.
I was
sharp.
like, how can I pull this off?
Is that why you're wearing a white tee right now, Hubert?
No. Just dodging.
I guess
I'm
I
wearing
can
a big hot dog on my shirt.
He was Bond's favorite.
Just like Bond.
A few steps to go, I guess. You can blow something up next to your face and get the scar, at least. We can start there.
Yeah. I like how he got away with, like, he was so pretty with the glasses and the tux that when he walked into her villa, she didn't go, like, get out of my private domicile. She's like, hey, like, I'd be like, I flirted with you and you're hot or whatever, but get out. What the hell? Like, that would freak me out. But he's so pretty, he gets away with it.
Right. Any stories from this first part here where you are trying to put this kind of liquid tracker on these 3 different targets that could be the potential targets of Damien? You can like have them drink it or get it on their skin. You're trying to just get it on these 3 targets any way you can, and there's a few different ways to do it. Anybody have any fond memories of going through that?
Nothing crazy. This was the absolute most I thought of Hitman for sure. It felt like I could have been a bald man here and I wouldn't have known I was playing James Bond. So
yeah,
like honestly, it just felt like just a character swap. It was like, all right, I'm just playing Hitman right now.
Right.
It felt like really classic Hitman. There are a couple even older Hitman levels that I was trying to figure out of like, which one is this like? There was one where you joined like a mariachi band and it had all of these separate gardens that you were. At first, I thought you were feeding people to crocodiles, but that was a completely different mission. It was actually you fed them to a hippo.
Right.
Pet hippo. Yeah.
Yep, that's one of the targets. Prize pet hippo. Yeah.
That is interesting because I felt like this was actually a pretty stiff mission, and I think part of the thing that works for Hitman that maybe works a little bit less well for this is like Hitman's ultimate goal is you're gonna kill a guy, and there are lots of ways to kill a guy, but this was like, which of the 3 side missions are you going to discover to do the thing, which is more than it would be in, you know, for example, an Uncharted game where there's usually one way to do a thing, but it was just kind of like, oh, okay, I'll do this side mission. You know, I'll go down and get his yoga mat and come back up, and that will get me in. And I thought it felt a little on rails, even though I know that there were other ways I could have potentially got in there.
I think like Haley was saying how she like walked around and was like vibing out the level. I think this level was just so immersive for me. So I think you're right when you're like, yeah, it's a little stiff. It felt really linear. But I think because I was like, just so in love with the surroundings, like it felt like I was there so much that it felt more free than it was. It was all an illusion for how much freedom there was, but I just loved the environment and just like walking around it.
I know what you mean. I took that note while I was playing. I was like, I know that choosing between sabotaging a laptop and lighting a barrel on fire is not like the most rich gameplay choice to achieve the same goal, but it's like the fact that I'm so in it, so feeling like I'm James Bond planning my next move is what carries it to the next level. And having like any choice just has a magic effect on my mind of feeling like it was me, feeling like I really conquered it myself. versus the fully
Because the
unrealistic.
next level was the least immersive for me, and it really took me out of it. Like the next one we'll talk about later on, but some of the
Interesting,
choices in that, I was like, ooh, this feels really weird.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll get to that. On the yoga thing, did anybody else do that opportunity? Because you have to go into the Tranquility Cave and hack the laptop so it stops playing nice music and starts playing loud EDM, right?
Everyone's pissed. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh my
Oh
god.
no, I didn't
went-
do that. I think I just like trank darted a guy.
Ah, sure.
I also
I'll
did
say
that, but turned on the music anyways, just because I was like, yeah,
I
F
did
it.
the exact same thing. Haley. I already had the mat, and I was like, "Well, I'm going to turn on the
This is a bit
terrible
silly.
music anyway."
Yeah.
That game was so cool. They need to design real spaces. Like, if that resort existed in real life, it'd be so cool. Just using the actual cliff sides of Vietnam to like carve a resort in.
Haley, it probably does, and it's
It probably
probably
does.
$50,000 a night.
Yeah.
And I will never see it. Yeah.
I thought the yoga thing was so funny because it's the most just kind of like, man, everyone here is a giant dipshit except for Bond, where he walks up, he's like, I'm here to go in. Figures like, no one's getting in except the yoga guy. Bond's like, oh yeah, that's me. And they're like, okay, where's the mat, buddy? And then you go down and come back up. You just walk right in, and then this man who we learn is so terrified of being assassinated that he just has armed guards around him at all time is like, oh, you say you're an MI6 agent? Great, I'll drink this vial of an unknown liquid that you're giving me.
That's because you get fed. We know about Agua Verde. That's what you're supposed to say.
Yes,
and then later there's a conversation where it's like, what the hell is
keyword.
Agua Verde? He drank it right away after that. So there's some little bit of explanation for
Yeah,
why it was
there
such a
is.
sharp turn.
The assassinator who also happens to know about Aqua
Yeah,
Verde
it's like
could be
it's
like, "Here, drink this
impossible
poison."
that
Right.
someone it's impossible that someone who wants to hurt you would know about this humiliating secret from your past.
Yeah, right.
I thought that. I mean, I was like, it's a good. Again, these are very Hitman tropes that we're working in, and that's fine. It is just so funny how like you basically it's like Bond's charisma is just rolling like nat 20s in every location that he
Yeah,
walks
that's a
into.
great way to think of
Yeah.
it.
Which it's such a cute way to
Totally.
do disguises is have it be things like the yoga mat where you're just putting it on to your outfit and you're just convincing as a yoga instructor. Now, versus Hitman, which is like you're supposed to be this guy that's kind of forgettable so he can blend in all these different outfits and feel like different people, versus Bond's strength is whoever he is, you trust him because of his incredibly memorable face. And so they play with the
makes me
disguise in
think-
such a different way.
Yeah, that's probably why they kind of leaned on the scar thing, Leo? To just make it feel really differentiated from the neutral face of Agent 47. It's like, let's make everybody remember it. Oh, the hot guy with a scar is like the opposite of, who was that bald man? What? Who was that? He
Yeah,
ran
it's
away.
like unavoidable. They have to bring it in and not just ignore that he would be so
I like
memorable.
that.
Also, in the interest of full, well-rounded conversation, we don't want to be biased one way or the other. Steve Bellegard writes in, biggest letdown of the game, the fact that if you do the opportunity with Yoga Mat, Bond just puts it on his back and it sticks there like a 360 era AK-47. The level of detail in this game led me to expecting a strap or something.
Totally.
Oh, I didn't
Fair,
notice.
so fair.
100%.
I do want to mention, I saw this online, I didn't remember it. Bond is scarred in the books. And so this is like the first time that a book accurate Bond scar has been represented.
Love that.
That's cool. I really liked in this section the juxtaposition of the douchebag who's cleaning our oceans. I thought that was really fun.
Yes.
Like, he's such a jerk, and he's like, yo, open the bar, whatever. And then when you talk to him, he's like, yeah, I just invented something that's gonna clean our oceans in our lifetime, bruh. And I'm just like, that's fantastic. Good for you. But I hate you. Like, I like that.
Yeah, he
That
is
was
really, he's like, listen, man, there are two things I love, disrespecting women and creating a molecule that will destroy all the plastic in the ocean.
I'm gonna save so many little turtles. Like, essentially was his energy while being a douche. I was like, that's a great character because, wow, I hate him, but I can't hate what he's done with his life, I suppose. Like, that's an interesting mix.
Sure. I love that line when you're meeting him where you go, I heard you have a drink problem. He says, it's under control. Oh, you mean we don't have drinks, right? Yeah. Pretty funny.
What is the, like, he has a whole entourage. What's the guy's name who he sends you with?
Shanti?
It's just very funny.
Teresa Lorca, of course, another person you're supposed to be getting the tracker on, who is also helping the environment. Harrison wrote in... Awuga, right. Harrison wrote in, a nice detail I found while replaying Slovakia, the chess match level, is that one couple is talking about investing in the research of Teresa Lorca. I love how the NPCs all have a presence in other levels. I'm sure that's a standard for the Hitman trilogy. But I only remember those kinds of details for sexy women in STEM. All women in STEM are sexy. #ally. Thank you, Harrison. Yes, that is such a Hitman staple.
Explaining STEM to the dude in the pool. Did you guys hear that conversation?
No.
Oh, I love that one. There's these two women relaxing on the side of the pool, and this guy's just like at the edge bothering them. And he's like, "Yo, yeah, what do you girls do?" And they're like, "We're in STEM." He's like, "Whoa, flowers, neat." Like, they're like, "Oh my God." It's like really funny.
I also liked in Women Explaining STEM where you start talking to Lorca and she's explaining how she's like very interested in this specific type of algae, and Bond just kind of gives her a like, "Hey, creates most of the oxygen on Earth." And she's like, "Whoa, man, you must be as into this as I am."
Well, he hits her with such a freaking good line. She goes, "Someone must have been good in biology class." And he went, "Only in the parts that matter." And I went, "Damn, that would work on me." That was a good line.
Okay, look. Let's go Awuga mode for a second here.
You may.
This is the most attractive woman who's ever been in a video game.
Wow.
I think, like, as in a world of like Stellar Blade and like jiggle physics and all of this, just having like
just a real woman coming out of a pool.
Beautiful, curvy woman get out of a swimming pool and be all wet and just talk to Bond. It's like, this is like a realistically hot person. Which feels like is not the normal video game kind of hot, but it is the Bond kind of hot. And, like,
and it's
question
the classic
how high of a bar that is, but like, they did it.
And they did it because it's the classic moment too. It's always someone coming out of the beach or coming out of a pool or something. Like someone posted it on social like a little while ago, Halle Berry's one, and then Halle Berry like commented like, "Oh, you guys really love this shot." She was like playing into it or whatever. She's like laughing about it. It's just like that classic Bond lady, beautiful lady coming out of the water. So it is cool that they did it for like the legacy, but also, yeah, she was very, very, very pretty woman.
And also part of the legacy, the like cool swimsuit you kind of haven't seen before, like specifically cool costume design as part of something that makes her like stand out on screen, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Tasteful shots of her too is the other thing, right? Like whenever there's like her butt be out in that swimsuit, but it's not like the camera's just on her ass.
You're
like
so right.
Like Kojima style staring at it. It's like you'll kind of get like they're talking and you get a little whisper of the butt. That's what's fun. I want a whisper of the butt. I don't want double cheeked up in my eyeballs.
Whisper of the butt.
Right.
Yes.
That's actually my favorite James Bond movie.
Whisper of the butt. Who would sing the theme song to that? Cardi B.
Right. Yeah. Sexy Red.
I do also like that they get you into her villa by being like, "Oh my God, her vital, she's flatlining."
Right.
And then being like, "No, she's just holding her breath for a long time."
Right.
It's just something she's into.
Which there is a challenge on this level for waiting for her to stabilize before you go over there. Which is very...
so if you don't run there fast enough?
Yeah, which requires you just standing there and waiting for 3 extra minutes because it really is a pretty short run. And then, yeah, you get the call in from Moneypenny, and you do get the same cutscene, unfortunately. You do still sprint in there, and nothing really changes. Yao R says, fun fact, Teresa Lorca is, as far as I'm aware, the very first named video game character that is canonically Portuguese and voiced by an actual Portuguese actor. I'm Portuguese, and our presence in gaming has mostly been in football or historical strategy games. Going from that to Bond Girl was a pleasant surprise.
PhD Bond Girl.
Ooh, that's right.
Right.
Smarty pants hottie.
Which, yeah, the mutual respect for the algae thing in their conversations is important for the hotness to hit right and not to feel weird. In a Connery or a Bond, she'd say the stuff about the algae, and he'd say, some kind of
algae's these nuts.
Right.
Yes, yeah.
He would say, like, keep your pretty little mind away from that. It'll confuse you.
Right.
Yeah. Something so condescending like that.
Algae
I like
is
a
men's
Bond
work.
who views women as people. That feels good.
I think I've got some algae in my shower. Want to come check it out? Tell me if it's dangerous.
Write down. That's a clip moment, Leo. Write it down.
Yep. That's pretty solid. Daniel M. on the topic of hotness says, I'm linking Gita Jackson's piece, which is such a great distillation as to how IOI did such an enjoyable take on Bond's romanticizing tendencies. Letting it happen, but still poking fun at it made this my favorite level of the game.
Cool.
Definitely one of my favorite levels for sure. I like the exotic locations. I like the big grand locations. Like last time we talked about the pirate level, and like when I'm playing games, I don't always enjoy looking at just like rusted, decrepit boats and like gross walls. It's like I like the casino vibes and like the restaurants and the cool hotels. Like I like that for sure.
Yeah, and I
cool.
did like, even though I found a lot of this level, the daytime part of the level pretty stiff, what I enjoyed was when night falls and suddenly there are a bunch of like bad guys roaming around, the experience of going through these same fancy locations that you have been in, and when they're not dangerous, but suddenly they're populated by bad guys. I just think it's like that's a fun level design trick to pull, to be like, I was walking through here when it was just full of nice people by the pool, and now I'm shooting a guy next to the pool.
Yep, and the key I got earlier is coming in handy for getting around these guys at this part. I thought that was interesting, going back through that bar. But yeah, you get the silenced weapons here, which are a big change up, because then when people get mad and shoot at you, nobody hears that even, because they have silenced weapons.
Classic James Bond silencer.
Yeah.
Pew, pew. It was so cool. Finally, when we got that, it was like, yeah, cool.
They waited a long time to give that to us, too.
Yeah. They waited so long that I forgot about it. It wasn't even on my mind. And then when you get it, it's like, of course. Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I was kind of confused how these worked, because I would still shoot guys and they would get alerted, and I wasn't sure if it was they were being alarmed in proximity to me, the shooter, or if they were near another guy who got shot. Or it just, there were some times when I was shooting someone with a silenced weapon and still immediately they'd be like, he's shooting, he's over there. And I wasn't quite sure why I was triggering those alerts.
I think that's from them being near the person you shot or in line of sight. That's what I suspect. That's how it felt to me, which I was like, I think this would be, because that happened to me, and I said, I think this would be unintuitive if I wasn't used to it in Hitman.
Also, I did, it was funny that they made a big deal of giving him the silenced gun, because I did throw it at someone quite quickly after getting into a fight. And then later in the game, he's like, I gotta get another silenced gun. And I was like, that's right. I threw mine at a guy's face.
Which makes them break, as we know. This is a huge, big mission. What else we want to talk about here? Because it goes up to the next Damien fight, which is a fake out where he doesn't die. And then there's the big Greenway bailing you out thing with the classic Bond about to be sliced in half.
And of course, the fight with the other twin. That was exciting.
Yeah.
That was this
Get some revenge.
I didn't realize it was the other
about
twin. I thought it was just a blonde man, I fear, until he went, say hi to your brother, and I went, oh, it's the twin. Oh, okay.
I was like, oh, man, this one's personal now. It felt like he wanted to get you. Doesn't he like come out of the fire too? Like
on fire. Yeah, that was so crazy.
Awesome.
It looked like his face was all melted.
It was so cool.
That was good stuff.
That felt high stakes. That felt intense. That was good.
Before there is the funny moment of you rescue the dickhead plastics guy, and then he attacks you because he assumes, reasonably so actually, he assumes that you were the one who tied him up, which I just thought was funny.
And he goes down in one punch.
He goes down in one punch.
I love that.
The best feeling ever.
The weakest
and so
punch.
Cinematic. So like, straight out of one of the movies for sure. The effortlessly dodging once and then just haymaker turning his lights out. Very satisfying. Yeah, go for it.
So why is Damien wearing Troy Baker's mask from Death Stranding? When he showed up in that, I was like, has it been established that this is his look?
They're into the Greek theology stuff, right? So I think he's just leaning into that because things are named Hyperion and yeah.
Which we saw the mask in a left before we knew who it was, and it was still a mystery of who was shooting a rocket launcher at you.
Yeah, true, yeah.
Because
it
is so funny
mask
that
is? I don't think so.
it just kind of looks like Greek god.
I'm sure it's a really on the nose Greek choice for sure. They are loving that.
Yeah. It's like Damien is so stupid and corny. And so for him to, in my mind, just become the same character as Higgs from Death Stranding, which is also a stupid and corny character, I was like, hey man, this gold mask represents just kind of a dumb guy.
I'm a Higgs defender. I agree. I love that he was just annoying and stupid.
I think it's hard to make a villain. It's hard. I feel like it's easy to make a villain cool. You know, it's like, oh, I really like these villains. Like, villains are awesome. I always think of like Batman, obviously, like the coolest villains. And it's like, I liked that Damien was so annoying because it really made me want to take him down. I feel like that's a hard thing to do where it's like, I don't like this guy's entertaining because he's so ridiculous, like you were saying. But he was also just like so annoying in the sense where it's like, I can't wait to just get this guy. I just want to punch him. I want to beat him. I want to take this guy down.
The layer of him being such a daddy's boy made that work for me, for sure. I was like,
I want to get you. I want to get you, Damien. Yeah, so it was really good.
I also liked the layer that he's like really bad at chirping and he feels very demoralized by that. And Bond is so good at it. Like, he's just always has these good one-liners. And at first he tries to keep up and then eventually just kind of like, you're so funny, James. So funny. And he just gets like more and more mad each time you see him again. He just can't come up with a chirp, which is a very like rich kid dude bro thing to get really worked up about. You already own millions of dollars. Why are you getting mad about chirps? But I like that as well.
Right.
Yeah. He fully turns into a Resident Evil villain in this. Like, when he has a mystery syringe that he injects himself with, and I was like, is he gonna grow a big eyeball? Like,
or like
what's
big
gonna happen to this
arm
guy?
is gonna come out like
Wesker style. Yeah.
But it just makes him be able to dodge everything except thrown objects.
And lights.
And he still is such
And bright lights
by
will really
light.
mess him up.
And then, of course, we get the other iconic James Bond moment. Him strapped to a table with a giant, like, chainsaw coming down on him slowly. They don't want to shoot him in the head. They don't want to get him when they have him. They want this giant, slow-moving blade
that he stops every time James says something.
Yeah. What? What was that roast you said about me?
Yeah. What is it with that?
I expect you to
Stop the drill. What'd you say? Like, every time. That's so funny. And if this is a safe space, I will say that the sawmill cutting person in half kind of does it for me. I'm not gonna lie.
I don't know what it is. I love it too.
Okay. Look, we all got our things. I got Lorca climbing out of a pool. You got James Bond straddling a big marble slab.
And with the red sight line in the middle, I was like, this is a sophisticated tool. It's usually just kind of willy-nilly at the sawmill. This felt like future sawmill marbling co.
Sci-fi sawmill.
Yeah. Oh, what a great name for a horror movie. God.
So I don't know about you guys, but I fully popped off when Greenway re-entered the picture. Like, I was sure that Bond was going to be rescued by someone, but I was kind of expecting Isola or something, and then instead having Greenway goes Sniper Super Saiyan was a delightful and unexpected set piece.
Sick.
And he like clearly took some time to ruminate about how his whole life was a lie, and he's better for it now. Like, he seemed really good and in a good mental place when he showed back up, which I like.
Yes.
Yeah. And that
Greenway, shout out Greenway. Gets me so hyped.
I totally fell in love with him in this whole chapter for sure. Push him over the top. And it's that first gameplay after he frees you, where you are calling out targets for him with Bond handcuffed, can't really do anything except point out people for him to shoot. What an awesome way to gamify the excitement of being saved by Greenway, having that short segment after it. Really cool.
I wrote down, I was like, I'm not sure why I need to point out these targets to him. It seems like he could just shoot the guys, but like,
just any guy who's running.
Gameplay, it was fun.
If he's not wearing handcuffs, please shoot him.
Yeah, for sure. For him being accurate enough to snipe one of the straps that's holding you to the table without hitting you, yeah. You think he'd be on top of it. But whatever, this guy's the most danger to me right now. And then keeping that UI for when you get your faculties back, and he's sniping people for you still, and you're kind of having that Legolas Gimli style, fighting over who's getting the most kills, making fun of each other for taking the kills.
So good.
Very good action sequence.
I really, there was a moment that I think was unintended because I actually died and it didn't happen again. But I thought it was funny where you get to a section where there are a lot of guys and Bond kind of says like, how should we take this on? And Greenway says, I have an idea. And he just immediately starts shooting guys. But what happened in that section is Greenway said, I have an idea, shot something explosive that then bounced into and destroyed my cover, like that I was standing behind, and then all of the guys started shooting me, and so it just felt like
that does seem like classic Greenway.
Yeah,
destroy my cover and make me run around.
Right.
And also get me $100,000 while you're doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, lots of cool gameplay in this sequence. The driving the gigantic truck.
The big truck.
So
oh my
cool.
God.
Yeah.
So cool.
Mm-hmm.
I love how big that truck was.
The scale
like
of
the
it, yes.
It's like the
the
Avatar
garbage
trucks.
truck you thought was big, but yes, Haley, it's an Avatar truck.
It's an Avatar truck.
So is. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow, that's awesome.
I can't help but think like, they made a little joke about it earlier, like, oh, telecounting, that's going to be expensive. They destroyed so much quarry equipment that isn't owned by anyone evil, as far as I can tell. I feel like that's going to get them in so much trouble. Do you guys think of that while you're playing games, or am I just
property
too
damage
anxious?
for sure?
I'm like, oh, we just
Definitely.
took down so many poles and lights and stuff. We're gonna be in so much trouble, you guys. It's like all I could think about while I was driving down the big hallway.
I was certainly thinking about that. Sometimes the bad guys in this game are like hired by Damien, mercenaries, come to like kill everyone. And sometimes it's like a security guard that I'm putting a bullet in his head. And I was definitely thinking about that of like, this guy didn't sign up for this. Maybe he works for an unethical employer, but I don't think he signed up to be shot.
They also interestingly humanize one of the security guards later on when you're in just skip ahead to the Antarctic mission for 1 second. When you talk to that guy, he's like, cheers, mate. And he's like very nice. I'm like, oh, man, this
I'm going to
sucks.
kill all your friends, buddy.
Yeah. It's like interesting how they decided to do that so late in the game when I've already killed so many of his friends, I suppose.
Right. Greenway gets his lethal wound, which was interesting that it was from a random grunt, pretty much.
Yeah, it felt very superfluous, and that's always one of my pet peeves in movies and things where it's like, okay, you want this character to die now. I would have preferred if they just went through the entire combat that you went through, and he just noticed Bond notices at the end and is like, hey, you were hit, and he's like, yeah, I know. Like for it to feel so like unearned, basically, where it's like, and we play, like, you play the entire game and every Bond movie operates under the concept of plot armor, and basically, like, they're going to get shot at 1,000 times. It's never going to hit. Why is this one random guy, the guy with the lottery ticket that nobody saw coming, especially when he's been under fire from an entire army with just a sniper rifle for like the entire
It's like they're
time
trying
before
to do
Bond
the
could
Red
get to
Dead,
him. It's
the
just
Red Dead
annoying.
2 situation where it's like out of nowhere from some random. But yeah, but I think your way would have been a little more poetic, especially here because the whole the Greenway was on the redemption tour. He had been building up to his role here within MI6 with Bond, like reconciling with everything. It was like, it was his time. So I think it should have been more dramatic.
IO has really treated every character other than Bond as disposable in a way that stands out more because I think they've done a legitimately good job of setting these characters up. And then when you have something where, like, I think Bond mentioned Monroe one more time after that was, that was supposed to be such a big buddy, and Cressida, which we'll talk about, I'm sure, of just like all these characters just disappear and they treat them like they don't matter at all. And like you've set them up better than that, and it feels like they deserve a little better.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that's true of Greenway, because the end of the game is about him.
Sure.
But I do, I mean, it is the just kind of like random goon. I will say, I think the scene where Bond and him just sit together is great. Mm-hmm. And in terms of like heartbreaking lines to say to someone before they die, Bond saying, "Is there anyone I should contact?" and then realizing that Greenway has died, like really hit me. You know, both of just kind of like, it is not an overly romantic thing to say, but it is also revealing how little Bond actually knows about him and like who might be close to him. And then just the idea that like, and he won't find out. And as we see at the end of the game, the answer is like basically no one, you know, that no, everyone gets to go to the funeral of the horrible tech oligarch, and no one goes to the funeral of this man who, you know, sacrificed everything.
Totally. I was in the same boat as Jeffem with him dying so randomly. I was taken a little out of it, going like, okay, so he had to die at this point in the story, and they just did whatever quick way to have that happen. But then the specifics of the scene of him dying totally worked for me. Them like holding hands, I thought was like a really cool,
that was really
powerful
sweet.
Choice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was Greenway that initiated the contact, and Bond just kind of held him back. I was like, that's so sweet. You never see
so
that.
So emotional.
Yeah. I mean, it was fully the high point of the game for me, even though I was like very sad. But it was like part of my disappointment, I think, with the rest of the story is like, I never, this was the most I felt, you know, and it was done really well.
The line that got me was like, what do I do? And he like the motion
just tell me what
capture
to do,
acting of his face was really good, because he was just like so used to having to do something. He's like, just sit down for a second. I was like, oh, it was so sad.
Yeah.
Hoping for a Greenway tax sim mission or like
the Nightfall mission
DLC or something.
Yeah, give us a prequel. Show him in
Show
009.
Nightfall, the original Nightfall. That's such a great idea.
Yeah, need that.
That'd be cool. Brian writes in, the flirtatious rivalry, the will they or won't they tension in every scene they share together, the soulfully heartbreaking just sit for a bit before their final goodbye, which is what Greenway tells Bond to do when he asks. Is Greenway the greatest Bond girl of all time?
Platonic
Seriously.
Bond girl.
Yeah.
I just love what they did with that relationship. It's so not tropey. It's not like, okay, I get it. Mentor, mentee, you know, it felt very fresh and new and good and thought out and realistic. And they gave them small moments. They gave them big moments. They gave them like silly moments, strict moments. I thought that it seemed like they really cared about their relationship more than any other one in the game times 100.
Yeah.
And you expect it to be, as so much of it is, like setting up who Bond becomes, like him being shaped by the people around him. But this almost reveals, and in the conversation as you get back to Q-Lab, which we'll talk about in just a second in the next chapter, it's more about like how he impacts the people around him. Like Greenway and him getting along at the end, Greenway having his actualizing is because he's respecting Bond and becoming more like him and realizing how much he wishes he were still like Bond instead of having been so changed by the horrors of decades of this work.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting stuff.
Yeah.
Couple comments
He's
here.
Recognizing too, Bond like wants to save everyone. Like leave no one behind. Him finally respecting that.
Yeah.
You know, going a little off mission because he never wants to leave anyone behind. And then Greenway being like probably a company man for so long was like mission. And just like, yo, respect, like Bond trying to save everyone, trying to save people. It's so epic.
It is a really great quality, handled really well. And all the side characters in Greenway's type of position at MI6 being like, you know, they've just been through it so many times and they've mathed it out and they're just have totally settled on it. Just makes no sense to go out of your way to save people like this. Mm-hmm. And yeah, a couple comments here about the eulogy and how that ties into it. From Tom M, the cutscene with Q where he urges Bond not to blame himself was the most wonderfully understated title drop I've seen in a Bond story. I've been speculating about why the game was called First Light since the reveal, and having it simply be the description of Bond himself joining the service and giving everyone hope was such a lovely moment. And Bon John Bovey wrote in with the specifics. Greenway's death was surprisingly sad, so I love this bit of eulogizing. And the actual quote is, "He slipped into darkness, never could find his way out until you came along. The first light in more than a decade." I'm a sucker for the whole one last glimmer of redemption at the end of a sad, sad life thing, so this really hit for me. And McGreevy adds, wanted to add the whiskey they drink is labeled First Light, aged 20 years.
Cool.
There you go.
That's really nice.
Very nice.
That's cool.
Yeah, that was cool, and gave a little more gravity to the death for sure. That like we were saying, once felt a little random and maybe a little was out of nowhere, but it's taken so seriously and has such big effects, both from the themes of it and the logistics of how it plays out.
So this is the mission that we basically get back from and learn that Webb has just leaked a bunch of MI6 information, right? Is that kind of the next,
or he was threatening to? They're cooperating to give him immunity so he doesn't leak everything. He might have leaked a little, but he's threatened.
But
to leak it all.
he did already
some,
leak stuff, but
Right.
it was just like old to kind of prove that he could. Here's something that I thought midway through the section. I was like, is it bad if I don't give a shit that MI6 information gets leaked? It was funny that it was like, look, I care about stopping people from dying. I care about stopping a bioweapon. And I suppose that they would say, if you leak all their information, we won't be able to do that anymore. But in this particular moment, fighting to keep government records secret, I was just like, doesn't actually mean much to me. Not something that I'm committed to dying for.
Right.
The entire game, M has just become more and more of a disappointment. By the end, I was like, she sucks. There wasn't a redeeming moment. There's supposed to be one where she's finally talking with Bond and now they're chummy or whatever. She sucked the whole time. And giving Webb immunity was one. And then she made a comment about Greenway of oh, I thought Greenway taught you that. And Bond barked back at her of leave his name out of your mouth, basically. And then she did it later with Moneypenny too, where she was like, oh, she's not your friend, she's an asset. And it's like, that goes so far beyond hard ass, MI6 manager, any other story, an MI6 manager would still be like, yeah, go get our teammate. These people are supposed to be important. She by the end, she had such CEO energy that I was done with her. And just
energy.
I'm gonna counterpoint that I quite liked her, but I get why she's annoying. But I think it's because I just watched Skyfall right before I started playing this one, and in that one, M is very similar to the M in this game, which is, ugh, I hate that I have to do the big picture, go talk to Parliament and explain this and explain that, and the things that are necessary for MI6 to work, but are annoying to have to deal with. You kind of just have to deal with them. And her flaw in that she views people as assets too much. I think she got a very speedy arc, but by the last couple missions, it seems like she's more on James's side for, I should stop thinking that way.
Even then, she imprisoned Bond just like Isola told her she would. And then it's she only lets you out because she's like, yeah, I saw you kill those 12 guys who are here to kill us. So I'm going to trust you now, kind of. I wouldn't mind it as much if she was also not so bad at her job. And
I think
she was a terrible director at the same time.
Yeah, it's Judi Dench is ugh, I have to deal with all the fallout of you, Daniel Craig, James Bond, which I think works. But her being this is what being M is about. I've got to give total immunity to the tech billionaire who's destroying our country. I'm this doesn't feel in service of anything. It just feels like you're making a poor decision.
I feel like it was just a peace move so that to buy her time to do what she actually wanted to do, which was take him down. But she had to do this.
I don't think she did.
Step.
That's what I was thinking, is because this whole you then go off to Antarctica and you're pretty rogue and disavowed, and you even find out she sent a letter ahead. If a rogue MI6 person comes up, we did not give him permission to do anything. And I was so at that point oh, she is just fully buying in but knowing that I'm going to go do this. She knows the part she has to play, and she knows the part I have to play, and she's just got to hands off, and at the end she'll go, good job doing what I knew you would do, even though it was against the rules. And I was so convinced of that I forgot it didn't actually happen. Because yeah, some of the stuff without that happening is a little over the line. But it's fun too that she is so against you in a real way when she also believes in you at different parts. It's like okay, in her pragmatic way of doing things, she recognizes she has to give Bond a chance because he's so undeniable, even though she really doesn't want to.
It's not that like I think she's a good character for the story, but she's just kind of an annoying and irredeemable one that by the end, I kept on waiting for her to have like this redeeming moment, and we got it with Greenway and not with M. She still just kind of sucked.
She said my favorite line in the whole game, which was the one that made me the most emotional, which is I was climbing an elevator shaft and he's talking to her on comms and she says, you're going to have to go through this room and whatever. He goes, okay, I'll be careful. And she goes, don't be careful. Just be you. And he goes, okay, Mom. And then they stop talking. And I was like, oh, she finally just like knows whatever his secret sauce is. It works. It doesn't match any of her preparations. It doesn't obviously match AI predictions and whatever. It's just like, James Bond's secret sauce, it works. I gotta just trust. She's finally trusting things that aren't on a piece of paper, and she's like, good "Fine, moment. Go for it." And that gave me like crazy goosebumps. I was like, "Yeah, like she likes me now." I don't know.
Right on,
Leo. On the note of her sending the letter ahead saying there's going to be like a rogue agent, I thought one of the again unintentionally like writing off video game story construction funniest line in the game was at some point. I can't remember who. Maybe I think it's Isola who says like he's not going to leak the information just because one rogue MI6 agent came here. And I was like, he's not? Like me, the guy who is in the deepest part of his like tech company who has killed 100 guards at this point and is like inches away from taking the core of his machine, him being like, well, that was the work of a rogue agent from MI6, not MI6 as a whole. I'll give them the benefit of the doubt.
Just one bad apple.
Very funny to me.
Yeah. Speaking of getting chills on your way to Antarctica, first off, cold. Second off,
nice.
That's very true.
Thank you.
Nice.
We get the origin of Shaken Not Stirred.
Yes. Loved that.
I truly, so many lines of dialogue in this game, I've been like, do I just love IO infinitely and I'll forgive anything? And I am just liking it because I'm in such a mood to like it because I believe in it so much. And Shaken Not Stirred, the explanation being, you know, she says Shaken Not Stirred. This is Isola now. You're on the boat
takes
with
it from her. Yeah.
Yeah. She says Shaken Not Stirred. He says, what's the difference? She says, I want what I want. I think that's awesome. I fully stand by that as like something that so many prequels have done versions of that are so annoying and silly and easy to laugh at. And someone references the Han Solo thing in here for the 007 explanation later. But yeah, that I stand by that Shaken Not Stirred explanation as something that he took on, was inspired by. I think that's cool.
Yeah,
I buy it.
I agree. I loved it because it's just one of those things that you're gonna get. You know, you expect it to be there at some point, just like we all called like the final shot of the game. We knew it was going to be.
Right.
Yeah. So there's just like, you know, the car there. There's just like the Bond tropes that are going to show up no matter what. This is his drink of choice. How are they going to present it and integrate it? And I thought it was a cool, like you said, it was a cool way to do it.
Yeah. Handled better than expected.
Good. Yeah, it's a good explanation because people have pointed out that when you shake a martini with ice in it, all it does is break up the ice and it makes the martini more diluted. People have like criticized that as being Bond's drink, that he basically doesn't understand drinks. But in this context, it kind of makes sense because it reminds him of that lady who kept screwing him over.
Yeah. Also, guess what? A martini tastes bad. Maybe I want it to be diluted. Right. I like that when I noticed when they had the martini, they also had a bottle of champagne in the wine bucket sitting on the thing. So it was like they had already been drinking champagne, and then they were like, "Now it's time for martini." There was another piece of Bond lore that we got where there were dialogue choices. So I wasn't sure if like you could get different. It didn't affect any outcomes, but you could get different pieces of information from this. And I liked that Bond just dropped that his parents died, quote, doing something that they loved, which is a very fun, ambiguous line, because it's like, does he mean protecting their country? Does he mean scuba diving? You know, like what is something that they loved?
Yeah.
Did I invent that it was a skiing accident? I thought we got some kind of lore
Could have
document
been
about
like
that
a
at some point.
cover story or something.
Oh.
Yeah, no, I filled in the blank myself from what I'm Googling. Yeah, that was cool. Graham J writes in, the bow tie tying QTE as well as the shaken not stirred origin story are such excellent little details to help remind the player that despite having a lot of raw skills, Bond is still needing to put in a lot of work to become the iconic spy he is in the movies. These moments are so unique to the game, but feel like they fit in organically to the Bond lore. Yeah, it's like a Andor. I was like, this is so good that it makes everything that never knew Andor was going to happen better by it being a part of the same universe, you know? That's one of the coolest things a prequel can do.
Real quick about the bow tie. I know we talked a lot about the bow tie. I love that Moneypenny is just like, do you want me to get Q1 to help you? And he's like, yes, please, I need help. And just like accepting that from another man was
Like, please
another
no.
nice touch.
Like,
He didn't just YouTube it. Yeah.
Hey,
I kind of feel like you
look.
should have. Imagine someone calling you when you're like off your shift. Be like, I can't tie a bow tie at work. I'd be like,
Oh, I'm
"How
sure
are you
Q
calling
loved
me
that.
this?"
Characterization. Q was thrilled to get that call. Q
Yeah.
was like,
So
I have to work with computers all day. Finally, I get to tell Bond how to tie a bow tie.
Of course, I
another
could have
character.
sent him there with a self-tying bow tie that he has a remote control for.
The dart in it.
So
or
I did,
something, yeah.
again, a little line that I liked. I liked when Bond was like, why not a clip-on? And Q was like, it doesn't look classy, and you tie it a little uneven on purpose so people know that it's not a clip-on, which is like just a fun little, you know, it's like this is what learning to be classy is about, I guess.
I loved that because it gave like the Jurassic Park, you know, what's it called? Seat. How the fact that there was two like female seat things when they're in the helicopter and he used to tie them together. It kind of gave that with the whole AI thing of like clip eye, everything's perfect, it's symmetrical, it's perfect, and it's like I don't like looking at that. I want it askew. I want human error in things.
That's a
what I
cool
kinda thought of.
connection.
That is
Yeah.
what the deepest dive is all about.
Yes, absolutely.
Seatbelt was the word that I couldn't think of for some reason.
Well, that's not what the
Seatbelt.
deepest dive is about. We don't care about that.
Okay. Okay, thanks.
Speaking of deepest dives, James Bond got blocked by a submarine. They were
No,
they were about to
one
make
more
out.
hour. One more hour.
She says one more 20 minutes, no, make it an hour. They definitely do then go have sex off screen, which is funny because we were talking in the first two parts of this discussion about how interesting they're handling it, where it's like women are just hitting on him all the time and then he doesn't follow through with it. It's like that's how they're balancing the James Bond womanizing aspect. But no, in this section he has sex with two women and it's like, oh, he just didn't have time before. And now they're literally just like, he's got 3 hours before the party tonight. He's got an hour before he's got to get to the base. He can fit it in when he needs to.
But it is
Ayo.
also the Isola maybe intentionally manipulating his emotions a little bit more than the other people. You know, she has a reason to make him fall in love with her.
Sure.
When she said, give us an hour, I went, Jesus. Okay, Bond, get going. That's a while.
Better get started.
Yeah, I guess there's fantasy elements in this franchise at certain points. Okay. Yeah, but she says later, like, you make for such great distractions, which is, of course, a double entendre for him actually going loud and, like, you know, explosions throughout the base and stuff. And I think a tease that she did enjoy their time together. So here we are in the Antarctica section. You're getting some IDs for you and Isola to go up. Is this the section you were talking about, Huber, as being a little more uneven?
Yeah, getting these IDs I thought was just so janky. I don't know. I just did not like this. It felt undercooked. I think the environment wasn't convincing enough. I felt really out of place. Like I would stand out here because a lot of locations you can blend in and it feels natural for Bond to be walking around, messing with things, doing things, obviously, unless you're trespassing. But this whole area just felt like I shouldn't even be walking around here really. And then the woman like sitting in kind of the room, she's on like the beanbag and you have to steal her ID. She's like asleep or whatever.
Sleeping.
Yeah, just like manipulating the people around her, like with the there was something right next to her, like a water jug or something, or a fax machine. But yeah, just the electronics around them manipulating that just felt really unconvincing, I guess. It was really one of the only parts in the whole game where I was like really just removed from it. I was like, this is weird for it to be so late in the game, and now I'm finally feeling this way.
It being more rigid too, it was like the mechanics are just kind of exposed versus being a little more.
Yeah, touch a computer, touch a copy machine, go take it.
Totally
The thing that took me out of this is they just have NPCs milling around. There is a helipad in Antarctica where it's like blowing snow, and there are people just sitting on the bench out there. It's like, I've never been to Antarctica. I've been to Minnesota in the winter. You do not spend more than 1 second outside unless you really have to.
They do talk about how insanely cold it is too, and how you have to have this super high-tech jacket that's like doing some kind of fancy warming technology to keep you alive.
I do think the fashion looks great, both on Bond and Isola. I really like their winter fits.
Super cool.
Did you guys get Isola to help you when she offers it at one point? Or I said no, but then I kind of regretted it to see. I wish I'd seen what she does.
No, what part is that?
No, this means that I took so long that she eventually was like, do you need help? And I went, no. And then she left me alone. But I was like, damn it, I should have said yes just to see what happens. But I guess I was being pokey and listening to all the conversations and walking around. And I was behind the front desk area to try to sneak. You know how they put very purposeful flowers there to crouch behind to get around there? I was back there, and she entered my comms and she said, what's going on? Do you need any help? And I could press triangle for yes or circle for no.
That's cool.
Yeah, but now I was hoping when he said yes, but it sounds like we don't have what happened.
Well, that's great, though. I feel like every hint in a game like this should be totally optional at the moment, because they just can't figure out when they should be giving them to me. I always feel like it's embarrassingly early, or I just am never getting one that I desperately need. You know, I like having that yes or no, and that's in world, too. That's a cool way to do it.
Yeah.
Then you get up to the robotics area where you are fully convincingly David Sorensen, I believe is his name.
People are recognizing you on site in a way that is very confusing to me, where you walk in and they go, David Sorensen. How do you know that I'm a guy who I don't even look like?
Yeah. And there's a bunch of things to do there with the robots, some of which progress, some of which are just fun. Sean Mills writes in the robotics lab is a piano that you can play, and a robot across from you will imitate what you're playing.
Loved that.
That was cool. That was a cool moment. The song that James plays is The End of the World by Skeeter Davis, which is the same song that the lounge singers sing in the Uninvited mission, which, as we discussed, he said was a favorite song of his dad's. So that's, again, on the AI thing, like, so interesting to have a robot be emulating him playing that from his heart,
an emotional
for his father.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was a lot of setup in this part, and I didn't know how much was just setting up things that happened later and fun, and how many were opportunities that I missed. The one that I was really confused by is when you first walk in, they're like, here's how to use the wrecking ball. Here's a gun, try shooting this robot. And then there's a different station where it's just like, here's a gun again, shoot the robot again. Is that like an alternate way to break the glass wall or something? Or is it just, here's a gun again?
You can use the EMP charge on your gun. You put up the big barriers so that no one can see what you're doing, and then you use the EMP charge to shoot the robot that's carrying the box around behind in the pen behind him, and that makes him drop the box, and the box drops gross fluid on the ground, and then our favorite Roomba comes back and opens the door for you. Return of Roomba.
It's just a complicated Roomba puzzle.
Yes.
Yeah.
Roomba.
A surplus of explanation panels on the Nightfall mission for that, but zero here. That's cool. I didn't figure that out either. I did the imitation where you are punching as the robot and you punch the glass, which you
That's
can
what
then
I
walk
did as
through.
well.
I like the worker was so valid. Like, what the hell? Like, it was like not like, who did this, huh? It was like,
Yeah,
what?
he
This
just-
is my section of the robot.
He just
lab.
shows up and it's like, it's his first day and he comes in and he uses the robot to break the glass and Bond is like, I was trying to make it do the robot.
And then the guy you first met,
so
who you talked
silly.
about the weather, like took your side weirdly. He's like, it's his first day. And I was like, this feels weirdly intimate already with these robotics people.
Yeah. It's great inside little missable note here. Peter Packer writes in the robotics department, a couple of web staff are having this conversation. Amazing work they do down there. Otis, the vet they brought in for testing, got his spine severed when his chopper crashed in Syria. You should have seen the guy's face when he first stood up. And they continue to talk about the exosuit technology, foreshadowing Damien's return.
Ooh. Love an exosuit. No matter what, I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm big on exosuits.
Okay.
Oh, exosuit man, classy.
I thought it was interesting. There are a lot of conversations about in the section about how Webb does not believe in the great man. That he doesn't think that history is led by great men, and his goal in making AI is to make. There won't be great men. It'll just be an AI that decides everything. But there's also one where people are like, hey man, wouldn't it be great if these robots were cops? And then the other one was like, yeah, but Webb won't do that. He wants people to like the robots. He doesn't want them to be cops. And I was like, that is the most unrealistic thing in this video game, is tech billionaire not immediately trying to sell his robots to the police.
Yeah.
For sure. Does make him more interesting as a character, though. The great man thing, too, was like, okay, this is a little nuance for why he believes in this AI.
Yeah, I was
Ends
trying
to
to
a
figure
mean
out
thing.
if the game believed in it or if it was or if it was kind of an example of his hypocrisy, that he was deciding this one thing for everyone even though he was claiming that he didn't. I guess we also didn't mention the reason that they're in Antarctica, which I thought was a pretty clumsy bit of exposition or like place setting, where they're walking. Bond says, how could he have all the stuff that was in Thea? And Moneypenny says, yeah, it's not like he has a mere quantum computer somewhere. And then Bond says, aha, yes, he must that must be it. And I was just like, what? This is the way that they come to that conclusion? Is Moneypenny says it's definitely not this
Time machine.
very direct explanation?
Right.
It's a cool concept that they clearly had no way of communicating to the audience, unless you know about quantum entanglement.
I didn't
But
like
yeah,
how there's like, there absolutely has not been a breach. I'm like, okay, but the trillionaire might have new tech that's undetectable by you. Could you think about that for like maybe that? I don't know. It
Yeah.
seemed very absolutionist about it. Like,
They couldn't ask Thea anymore,
Hitman
though.
reference.
They don't have any answers. They're flying blind.
Yeah.
I can't even write an email without AI anymore.
What are we going to do?
I kind of liked that, like when they cut back to M and the scene behind, like all the wall behind her was blue and it said Thea offline, and everyone was kind of scrambling, sort of like, this is what happens when you rely too much, put all your eggs in one basket and one little tool. If the tool goes down, you're kind of and all of a sudden, just being a regular spy is pretty important.
Then there's also the thing where they're like, okay, now that Thea's offline, Webb can use Hyperion to plan a coup d'etat, which he couldn't have done if Thea was online, because they're mirrored computers. And I'm like, he couldn't just build not a mirrored computer? He couldn't just build a computer for himself with his tech billions? It's not, it does not really detract from the game, but it is just one of those, like, I don't know, this part seemed a little rushed.
Totally fair. One last thing in the robotics department is you get your setup for later with Reki, the wrecking ball that you get to steer around.
Friend.
So fun.
Yeah. Jason
Really well
Poinar
done.
writes in, destroying the robots with the big rolling ball definitely has Moonraker / Die Another Day energy, but in the best way. It's absurd, but the game earns it and has built up to it from more grounded missions in hotels and lavish parties. Yeah, it could have been too cartoony for sure, rolling that giant thing. Which the challenge, by the way, is to get 10 in one roll, which was I
Gotta
could
group 'em
not
up.
do.
That's tough.
I think there's one point, as soon as you put the barriers down, they be lining up like bowling pins a little bit on purpose. I think that's when maybe you have to like purposely not kill a bunch of them.
They keep dropping
do a couple loops. Yeah. They were scary.
They were scary and strong, and you can't quite dodge all the time. Sometimes their reach is wide enough that your dodge, they'll still just grab you.
Yeah, they come out.
That one was so cool, like punching the glass to get to you, and it jumps down on you.
You can hear it the whole time while you're like frantically running around. Yeah, their footsteps are so loud and scary. When I had to run to the other side to do the other gate thing, and it was like dump, 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 and I couldn't look behind me. I was like, it was like Dead by Daylight.
I really, I love the part where you've been running away. You drop down onto a raised platform. All the robots are below you. You're controlling Reki. You're like, ha ha ha, look at these idiots. I'm just going to kill them all from up here while they can't get to me. And then you realize that the platform is slowly lowering. And it felt very much like like a Homer Simpson moment of like, God, I was so superior 2 seconds ago. And now I'm about to get killed by all these robots.
Yeah. That first robot, before you get Reki, was there another way to kill him besides hacking the big chomper to crush him?
That's what I did.
That was very satisfying to figure out.
Oh, you no, I
terminated him.
Raised a I raised a thing that had an explosive tank in it, and then I blew up an explosive tank next to him, which blasted off all his armor, and then I just shot him a bunch of times with a gun. And that was the part of this game where I wrote, "Oh, so there are no good boss fights." Which I then retroactively I remembered the twins in the chess match mission, which was a good boss fight. So there's one, but I think
don't overthink it.
It was surprising to me how bad most of them were. Where it's like when I was doing that robot thing, I literally just ran around a computer console like 10 times until I could get him close to a blowing up barrel and then blew it up. So maybe if I had chomped him, that would have been more exciting, but like it felt very not of this era.
One of the main notes when they're making the sequel should be like boss fights and like circle it. Like, yeah, one of the weaker parts for sure.
Yeah.
But I agree. The one against the twins, one of my favorites of the year, just because of the how they come out with the setup to it. It just leans into the classic combat style of this game, just like punching and dodging and blocking, and the environment you can use with like the glasses and the wine. So I really think it used the biggest strengths of the game, whereas some of the other ones were just like the stealth boss fights. I thought were.
It's just kind of like hit a guy with an environmental hazard, which I don't think is a super exciting way of doing stuff.
Yeah,
I liked that. Yeah. I liked punching Ellis one time while fireworks went off in Vietnam in that cool room more than every other boss fight combined. So that's just like, just do that. It's fine. I don't need to feel like a Zelda 3-stage thing is happening. You're IO. Do it the way you want to do it.
Yeah. For sure. The best boss fights, you feel like you are using everything you've learned, and that is very, very rarely the case in this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, so what? You're killing robots. What else happens in this mission before we get to the awesome stuff in the next mission?
That guy that gets cucked by everybody came back.
Right.
It was the bad guy.
Yes, he did.
Mr. Cook.
Mr. Cook. Roger Cook Finch.
Yeah.
Being a cook's my middle name.
And he gets hit with what, like a fire extinguisher?
Yeah.
You know, he sort of conks him.
Head.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then
she cold cucks him. Sorry.
I like it.
It's so good.
Yeah.
And then doesn't it culminate in the big boat chase?
Right, after Isola betrays you to get the core.
Yeah, oh my god, of course, the betrayal. Of course.
And you killed Nicholas Webb. Right. These are all the story beats.
Yeah.
Well, she kills Webb.
Right.
Yeah, she takes him out.
You're not going to because he has a heartbeat monitor that's going to blow up.
Did we figure that out? Because he gives him chest compressions, but then he's like, I stopped the leak. And I said, how?
Well, I think it's just because she just took the core out of the computer, so the computer stops working, so it can't leak. I think
is that what we're thinking?
thing,
But
but
he's
it's
got
like
an email on his Gmail back at home just in case. Or
yeah,
something,
very
you know?
poorly planned out by Webb of like, I'm gonna leak everything if you kill me, unless you take the computer core out, which is
That's 5
feet
feet
away
away.
from me.
I
The
did like
classic
the
hubris of a Bond villain, like always thinking you are one step ahead of everyone, 2 steps ahead, and there could be no way that anybody could break into this core.
just compressing the evil guy was a cool, like that just felt intimate
Yeah.
and weird given
Yes.
in that situation that I thought was really interesting.
I thought that was fun.
He was like reaching for him, but like didn't want to stop him because he's saving his life. So he's just kind of like, I was like, that would be so awkward and weird. What an interesting way to put them in a scene together. It stressed me out.
Yeah, trying to
Yeah, I
save
mean,
the villain is so
Yeah.
You
interesting.
did know, it's like you kind of knew the whole time that Isola was going to kill him. You know, Bond kept being like, hey, don't kill him, and she's like, whatever, dude. And so like that was not a surprise, but then it was fun to have her, you know, just be like, sorry, I'm taking this.
No
I don't care
hesitation.
what you want to do about it.
Yeah.
I didn't really care for the whole if faculty is exploding, run away, and then long boat chase.
The boat,
thing,
I was
but-
struggling with this thing. I was kind of just like all over the place with it. I was getting so far ahead of the enemies where they were like shooting at me, and I was like, I'm just gonna keep going, but like also, do you want me to like slow down so then I can shoot them? So basically I just kept flooring it and just kind of
that's
was
what I
like
did.
weaving all over the place and yeah.
And like the aiming clearly was the machine gun was just shooting at whatever they wanted it to shoot at. Like you could not just line it up on the boat that you're actually chasing and shoot it. So effectively you're just sitting, 50 feet back from the boat, just like waiting for that entire segment to be over.
Yeah.
That was the material flaw of that is I'm chasing behind this boat and I'm like, I gotta get it. I have amazing guns. Don't shoot her. I'm like, well, this just feels awful, like as a segment, because either I don't have guns and I'm just chasing her, or I have guns and I can shoot the boat. Why is there a combo thing with the little red UIX over the boat, kind of taking me out of it a little bit as well?
It
didn't make sense.
Yeah, it was so just, you can't do this because the game does not want you to do this. The game wants you to just float through a bunch of icebergs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Just take the guns away at that stage then, because I think I would have liked that better than I'm shooting iceberg chunks. That's all that really kind of ended up happening.
Yeah.
Yep, totally fair.
I liked thinking of like, who does she work for? I mean, the leading theory in my mind is Spectre, of course, the legendary shadow organization of James Bond, old and new. So I was like, okay, clearly setting this up, planting the seeds, laying the groundwork. Could not be Spectre. Also could be something totally different. Maybe like another villain. Could have been Lenny Kravitz for all we know. Is she actually working for him? Yeah.
Whoa.
So interesting though. I like that we're planting the seeds and they're playing the long game with this. This was a very patient game, and I really appreciate that. Just the whole way, the pace of it all, the storytelling of it all. It was very patient.
I'm surprised they didn't say the word Spectre as a tease at any point.
Yeah.
Well, I think some of my complaints about the end of this game are kind of like, feels like they are intentionally leaving things on the table for next one, which I don't mind with Isola. I think it's fun to have that be a question mark. I do mind with Cressida, who I think is like a giant missing element
Just
of the thing.
Vanished.
Yeah.
But what I do like about, I feel like Isola has the really good Bond girl mentality of like, I'm so exasperated by you ultimately wanting to do the good thing, because it's like she clearly does have actual feelings for him and is just so like irked, so annoyed by him wanting to be good instead of being kind of as nihilist and just get the bag as she is. And ultimately that comes back in the end, which I think is a good scene. But it's like, it's nice that she's not purely evil and she's not swayed entirely by the goodness of James Bond. She's just like, it's so annoying that you want to do the good thing all the time.
Right.
It's like Greenway in a different font. Like her frustration is coming from, you're in the way of my killing, rather than like good spy good spy tactics. Like, don't get too hung up on things. She's like, don't get too hung up on things so you can shoot Webb in the head. It's just like the same thing, but slightly different.
So when Bond shoots the core, and then the submarine immediately goes
That was so awkward.
back down below the surface. Do we think that there was like a guy watching through a periscope that was just like, he botched it, dive.
So, like the Japanese guys that were just like, leave her. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a weird
Lever.
conclusion to that entire chase sequence, an entire mission. It did not make a lot of sense. And then they were both just like, well, all right, just leave it there, I guess, on the ice. Doesn't matter anymore.
Nothing to be
I kind
done
of
with
viewed
that.
it as her kind of getting a taste of her own medicine of like, this is what happens when you don't trust in people and, you know, gain some kind of semblance of relationships. Like, they'll just leave you on an iceberg and take their stuff away.
We've all been there.
Meanwhile, Bond says, +1, helicopter, please. And they show right up for him and take him to jail. But at least they picked him up.
+1.
Yeah, and put them both in jail. Yep, that's where the next mission starts, which is cool because you're kind of depowered as MI6 gets attacked and you get released from your cage. You don't have your Q lens stuff.
Yeah, actually,
So cool.
Before we go into this part, I just want to mention the other Q Lab section before the Antarctica mission,
yes.
which is when you have to find a watch and a pistol yourself. And specifically, there was one collectible in that part that that references Felix Leiter, who's a big character in the Bond franchise with Jeffrey Wright in the in the Craig movies. So that's another.
That.
Yeah, just kind of like a wink at something coming by. Also, in that section, I went to the gadget cart before I had found the watch, and my game like hard crashed, which happened to me a couple times in this. I got some weird crashes. So
It's like,
find
don't
the
go
watch
there,
first.
Jacob.
Yeah.
Don't go to the cart.
Don't play your way that
funny.
hard, dude. Be reasonable. Yeah, of course, the great Q Lab section coming up here. But before that, there's some big stealthing through the offices of MI6, which normally when you're depowered in games, a lot of times that can be like annoying to not have some of your most fun stuff, but it was kind of a fun twist. There's enough fun things to do without having the gadgets that it's novel to not have them, and then getting them back seems really exciting.
I liked
So
how
you
he
were
used gamer
stealthing.
verbiage where he was like, I felt naked without it, which I feel like gamers always say when they don't have an ability for a little bit. I felt so naked. He just says that out loud.
Yeah, stealth as best I could, little out at certain points for sure, but then there's some catwalk sneaking around where you can pop open some smoke vents, and then the place just becomes incredibly hard to see through, especially without your Q lens
I love
stuff.
that.
Yeah.
The smoke looks so good in this game. Like when
Really
you didn't have
cool.
that lens, it was wisping, like you were affecting it when you walked through, it would wisp in different ways. And I had headphones on, which I don't normally play with, and I was so glad I did because I was just relying on like the spatial audio to get away from them like I would in real life. It felt really cool.
It was in this section or just at the end of this section when you're entering the Q Lab where the game gave us its best sight gag, which is Q just running to a couch, lying on it, and disappearing beneath it. It's just like, of course, Q has his escape couch set up for just this occasion.
That must have been a movie reference, right?
I was thinking that. Is it?
It felt like it had to be. It was so funny no matter what. It feels like something that would have been from one of the older, goofier Bonds. Yeah, Tanner Methvin. Right.
Yes, I looked up James Bond couch. The revolving couch, popularly dubbed the swallowing sofa, was in the Living Daylights.
Sure.
And in the 1998 video game James Bond 007 for the Game Boy.
Awesome.
The Game Boy.
Cool.
Very
Wow.
cool.
It was a primary mechanic. You brought it with you on missions. Tanner Methvin writes in that actually made them laugh out loud, and it was a bit fan servicey, but still very appropriate that after all the gadgets teased, IO just let you go God mode in Q Labs. Which the best type of writing where all the scenes in Q Lab beforehand where you're seeing them have conversations about the ridiculous stuff they're building, you're laughing at, and it's working standalone as like building this world of MI6 and how silly it is, and you don't That's satisfying by itself, and you never expect for it to come back in this amazing gameplay forward way where you are getting to now use all of the goofy stuff you saw before with unlimited gadget power. That was a tremendous, tremendous.
The pen, just spamming that thing.
There's all sorts of like
So cool.
auto turrets you can turn on near people and like lasers.
The turrets were cool.
Yeah, exploding teddy bears, making cars backfire. It was
the wall that rushes forward. Did you guys do that?
The wall?
Oh.
Yeah. There was like you could like coax them over with like a tin that was like shh, and you hack this thing on the wall and it just knocks them all over. It's pew, it knocks them
I mean, it literally
great.
felt like there were like 800 things in there. Like it's like I want to do that section multiple times because there were so many things that I knew that I didn't hit, and I'm like, I bet that did a funny thing too.
Yep.
That part was tough. I died a handful of times there trying to defend, kind of in this, in the area where you got to hack, and they're coming. Yeah, and the turrets too. The turrets sometimes I would use them and they wouldn't do much. And I was like, no,
shorter range than
them.
expected for sure.
I had real GoldenEye control room vibes on that one of like waiting for the computer to hack and just getting murdered no matter what. When I finally got the laser working, that was a godsend. But I had a couple restarts in that area.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We did see, as Changlini pointed out in the chat, basically everyone that you would ever interacted with at MI6, you found dying in that section, either like dead or on their way to being dead, which was sad.
It was, yeah. There was the one guy named Guy Whitlock or something who was grieving someone else and was just in total denial that they're already dead.
And the guy he was grieving was the guy who you met in the lobby, who was like, heard what you did, James. That was awesome. And I was like, remember that guy. And then I was like, oh no, he died.
Yeah, good at those human moments in the middle of all this. And then of course the cartoon.
And it's so high stakes too. Them. Sorry, Leo, go ahead.
No, it's just funny all the moods they hit because it goes right into QLab, which is such a funny and empowering scene.
For sure. Yeah, just high stakes like that they're at MI6. Just a full-blown attack on home base, I think, is so different than being somewhere else. It's like, wow, they're attacking our home. Like, this is a place you come back to throughout the game when you're not fighting anyone. It's like, okay, we're in a safe zone. We're in like a story moment, So when it all of a sudden it turns into a big combat encounter here, it's like, whoa, it's crazy. It's like attacking the Batcave or something.
That was exciting and a cool culmination of things. I wasn't sure where it was going to end, and I thought, did it end? There's got to be more, right? And this being the twist is that the last mission is at MI6. It was really exciting.
Yeah.
I guess my one complaint is just that like the motivation for doing so. Like I literally understand like, yes, it's just Damien trying to steal Thea's core, but it kind of was just like, and now a bunch of armored guys have showed up, and I found Webb like the difference between father and son. It was like I found Webb more interesting, and also I was like, I know he is not going to just bring a bunch of mercs to MI6. And so the bad guys were just such generic, like, and here's a video game villain that you go kill. I wasn't quite like feeling the hate, and it's only revealed later that it is Damien. And I was more kind of like, really? He didn't die? He's in a big exosuit? Then like
he got piped crazy.
We piped him so hard.
He got piped like crazy. I thought he died.
And he didn't even he didn't look messed up enough. This is a big complaint for me. His face has like a couple stitches in it. He needs to be. I was thinking actually when he was in the exosuit and the thing, I was like, oh, that's fully a robot. Webb like uploaded his son's consciousness into an AI because there's no way that he's alive. And instead it was just like, yeah, he's alive and he fights you in a big mech suit.
I think he's kind of like Genji from Overwatch, where he's like 80% robot with human pieces sticking out. I don't know.
Yeah, but then make him like glitch or so. I just thought I was just really like, this is not an interesting final bad guy for me to fight.
Sure. Yeah. The faction invading worked for me because of just a few little lines in the ear about like who would dare do this? And seeing them, killing one of the MI6 people who's going like, do you know who you're attacking right now? Like, playing into the gravity of what a ridiculous thing it is to do, what a reckless act it is, made me a little more interested in just how off the wall they're being. But yeah, I was kind of expecting it to be someone new and bigger than Damien again with the last of his crew.
I thought it was whoever Isola was working for.
Right.
Of like, well, there's only one left. We screwed up the last one that we had, and so I was interested in it to get like a better idea of who she was working for and what their deal was, and then to have it turn out to just be Damien, and he's gonna sell it apparently, even though he's half robot now and make a lot of money. I guess it's just. Whatever.
Right. Brady G writes in, well, I think this mission would have been served better as an epilogue and should have been made shorter. I absolutely love the power curve. You spent the whole game building up your arsenal and skills, all to start this mission with nothing but your wits. Then you regain your Q-lens and guns as you disarm the combatants. And then you get to go nuts in Q-Lab, activating whatever gadgets you want, all culminating in the Valhalla. Very cool way to end things. Yeah, any thoughts on that car sequence? You finally get the car with the guns?
Super cool.
I humanized the car a lot. I felt bad for it that I destroyed it so bad.
Same, Haley. Yes, same. Really, really cool moment. I like that we had been driving throughout the game, and you expect, I think the expectation is to like have some huge car chase with the oil slicks and all that and like the spiked tires. So again, I think some of these things are maybe holding back for a sequel. But I thought this was a really cool taste of like the full-on vintage spy car with machine guns and everything. And it was just like really cathartic, just like blasting everyone.
And they teased a tax sim mission coming that is this car.
Yes, I was going to say.
Yep.
Which I thought,
That's right.
I think it was almost something where I was like, I'm glad I got to play it, but at the same time, would it maybe be a little better I feel like it almost works better as a movie scene than as like a playable moment, because I love the idea of Bond sneaks into this place. He gets in the car, does a donut with his machine guns out, and takes out all the guys. But the reality of what happened is I did 30 donuts driving around a very small area, slowly shooting everyone. And I was like, it's just so like silly to just be repeatedly doing a circle around this very small space. So I love the idea of it, but it was it was just like, oh, I really can only go this far in this lab.
Neil Smith is
maybe I think
with
it was
you.
like a beat too long for sure.
Yeah.
Just a beat.
Neil Smith says, after all the build-up and foreshadowing for you to use the car and they finally give it to you in a tiny room that you can just turn it around in a circle and shoot guys, very anticlimactic. But I'm a little more with Boondock Bandit. I loved the awkwardness of the car scene. Previous games had this moment copped out by giving the car some kind of tank or hover mode for easier movement, but not here. You're constantly turning, reversing, trying to drift to spin to the other side of the room. It was funny and satisfying at the same time, because even a fancy car with mounted machine guns and missiles still has to do with 3-point turns.
I like when Bond is
feel like
talking to the car.
Yeah,
Sorry, go ahead.
I feel like I just went in reverse and then could just whip an infinite that like like the firecracker that you light and it just like spins super fast and then goes up in the air.
That's what I was doing.
But the only thing that was missing was going up in the air at the end of it.
Right, when you use that term, it actually was used by Reed here. After getting into the Valhalla, the music was similar to the bulletproof DB5 scene in No Time to Die. A tip of the Trilby hat to everyone who remembered and did donuts, aka whipping while firing the machine guns like a madman. Wrapping up with another Aston Martin and nearly drowning again reminded me of how the game started. Bond is going in circles or double O's forever. Interesting, Reed.
Oh.
Yeah, we talked about it on the MinnMax show at some point, the origination of the term whipping and I don't know what we landed on, but it seems like it might be regional. But my dad said it growing up.
I've never heard that.
Yeah, I like when Bond is like, the car has essentially a Siri in it, and Bond is like, flamethrowers? And the car is like, no flamethrowers. He's like, missiles? They're still warming up. Machine guns, okay. And then I think this is the thing that like Mission Impossible 4 does incredibly well, of just all of the tech breaks in that movie, and the point is that like tech will break and is unreliable. And this game is a little kind of sometimes it uses that and sometimes it just loves its tech. But I do love the idea of like, this is the greatest car in the world. It's so cool. Something fell on it and it can't open its door, which I think has literally happened to a Tesla at least once. And so Bond then having to do the ejector seat to like bust a hole in the car to be able to get out. I really enjoyed.
Yeah.
Love a good ejector seat.
That was for the fans. Yeah, I like that sequence. I thought it was surprising that you were stuck in this tiny room with it, and I was familiar enough with the car's controls at that point that you like know what you're doing when you just have to spin around in a tiny little place. It worked for me. I thought that was super fun.
Yeah,
and that was the last bit of fun in the game.
Yeah.
Are we talking about the final boss now?
Yes, Damien's back, and you gotta
this one
get
was
his
a
turrets
little
on your
janky
side
too. Yeah, the turret thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, this one didn't fully work for me, especially too because I died a couple times trying to run. You had to be like so perfect with the timing. You had to go right when the turret stopped shooting. If you were even like a second later, it would take me out. So it was like kind of this like weird trial and error, but not in a fun way. Because usually I don't mind trial and error. I'm totally fine with that. You know, I died, do it again. But when it's like so specific with the timing, it can get a little tedious. So the fight for mostly was just a little more tedious than it should have been, I think.
Yeah, just getting surprisingly one-shotted, sprinting from cover to cover for the long loads. Yeah, the
right.
momentum was pretty gone.
Yeah.
I liked the feeling of power of controlling the turret was fun, but the getting there did not feel like clever or interesting. And also, again, like, sorry to be video game logic guy, but I was like, he just put turrets in this random sewer where you just like crashed through the floor and ended up, and it was like exactly the room that he had
how
put
did he have it all
the
set up
turrets
there?
in.
Yeah.
Yep. 100% fair.
Yeah.
But
I
yeah,
did like when he asked him, what was my dad's last words? Like, I think he genuinely wanted to know that, and he was asking it, you know, more in like a threatening way, but I could hear in his voice, he's like, what'd my papa say? I miss my papa.
And I think it was definitely the limitation of being a video game. I feel like we needed to have more mechanics during a cool fist fight, because like action movies, martial arts movies, right? They like build up to some really sick fight. You get a couple fights here and there, and then it's like, all right, here's like the kitchen fight in the Raid 2 comes to mind. It like culminates with that.
Incredible.
It's like, all right, now Bond versus him. He's got the suit. Like, let's go crazy with this fist fight. And I think that would have like really elevated it. But it's like, okay, how could they completely change the fighting mechanics just at the very end for this one part?
Well, but I feel like we had already seen that in the game, because the fight that you have with Monroe is like exactly what I would want to see in this, of just like you crashing through a bunch of different rooms, doing different environmental stuff like that. You know, I don't need it to be super mechanically demanding as long as it's like visually fun. Totally. But this was neither. You know, it wasn't visually interesting, and it wasn't fun to play.
Yeah. Great call with Monroe there for sure. Something along those lines where the fight feels like bigger and like
more
like
intimate.
You're doing more. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the wine cellar too, I think, was a great example of it, and it's just like it's like the power creep of the plot, where it's like, well, now the bad guy's in a big mech suit, so we can't, you can't just punch a guy in an exosuit. Like, how's that going to work? So you got to do something even bigger, and it kind of like those few combat encounters that you had were the most exciting thing in the game.
I agree.
Yeah. He kind of gets the upper hand on you. You kill him, and he grabs you, and you fall into the water together. Him hugging you from behind.
Yeah, and then we get the incredible one. Yeah, return to the beginning. James Bond falling into water. Nice little bookend there. And then the truly incredible sight gag of Isola diving down, taking the core from you, and then swimming away.
So cool. I was
really
like, no way.
I love that you're sinking down. You see that someone's diving into the water, and I was like, okay, someone's coming to save. And then it was like, oh, it's Isola. Oh, and she's just taking the computer and swimming away. Classic Isola. That was incredible. I loved it.
Yeah. You know he's gonna survive. You know she's gotta save her.
Did everybody think she was gonna just bounce with it? I totally did for a second.
I knew she was gonna save him, and kind of I knew that's where it was going anyway. Like I wasn't surprised when she showed up, but I still really 100% appreciate the character choice where she really thinks about it. She doesn't do it first, and then you see her. I guess I should.
You know what? We totally skipped. Moneypenny gets stabbed.
Moneypenny gets stabbed.
Yeah. Right.
Yes, another disposable character of, I guess she's okay, but like it feels like every time this happens, it's like that person dies or they're just gone and we're not going to talk about them ever again.
I'm so pissed. Okay, though, like the credits rolled and I'm like, okay, time for the after credit scene where I hear Moneypenny's okay. And then it went back to the menu screen. And I was like, did she live? Like, how are we not going to have a quick reference for that? That's crazy.
That is crazy.
I was mad.
That is crazy.
I literally yelled at my TV, Moneypenny? Question mark.
Yeah, but yeah, Isola does, saves Bond, but takes the core, right? So she still has it, potentially leading into Spectre sequel, whatever.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Oh yeah. Or Lenny Kravitz.
Or Lenny Kravitz.
We also in the final another tick mark against M. They freaking let Cressida's father go, who they were like planning they were planning a coup and they were going to install him as the prime minister, and she was like, and M's big explanation was like, well, we kind of we just framed it as, oh, he had bad company and he doubled our budget. Like, isn't that great?
I was like covering my face like, oh, so your failing AI security system that hasn't done anything right this whole game now has a doubled budget in place for putting in a total
Holy
Shades of Grey.
And would-be prime minister is still there, and you're fixing his career for him so he can stay in power.
I feel like we should complain about Cressida now, because I legitimately like the last graveyard scene a lot, but like I feel like they almost didn't realize how good they had made 100%. The beginning of your game and your connection with these characters, because the absence of Cressida from the end of this game feels like a glaring omission. Like truly, I was like, we're literally not going to see her again. And like, I have seen people theorizing she'll be in other games. Maybe she'll be a villain in other games. Right. Maybe she'll, help you out. But it's just like it's where his story starts, and the idea that you're not going to mention Monroe again after one passing mention, and you are not going to see the living and alive person who is like the other survivor of this incredible trauma that you both went through of like losing your friend. It's just like, man, what are we doing?
Yeah, they didn't know. I think that's such a good theory, Jacob. Yeah, they really didn't know. Just stealing scenes, when you don't, like, it happens in movies too. Someone steals scenes, they don't even realize they're in it for a couple minutes. It's like, wow, that person really was great in the, the two scenes they were in. It's like, yeah, maybe they just didn't know.
Yeah, the pathos.
I feel like they have a whiteboard. They have a whiteboard up at IO that has a circle of Cressida, and she shows up in Game 3 again or something. Like it very much feels like we got big plans for her. She's gonna be so cool. She's got to go silent for a game and a half so that it really hits when she comes over here later.
Triumphant return. Yeah.
Or she's
like a trailer drop. Everyone's like,
robot legs.
Yeah.
Exosuit.
I will put on record that I predict she'll be a villain. With her,
I think that would hit. Yeah, that would
with
hit.
her background and with I don't know. It's just as where to take her.
So she seemed overly forgiving. Maybe it was an act, but like when it happened, she's like, I don't blame you, James. Blah 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 blah. So I read that as cold and mad.
I read that as her being pretty cold. Which I like. I liked that they left it off there, where she is saying that because she knows that it was maybe literally not his fault, but at the same time she is mad. And I was like, damn, when she comes back in the back third of this game, it's going to be a huge confrontation, and then just no follow-up. But I will say, love this last cemetery section. I think visually to me, it was very obviously invoking Metal Gear Solid 3, which I thought was a cool thing, and a similar note of like, your government will never give the flowers to the people who actually deserve it. You know, that Bond said, you know, Bond says like 21 gun salute and bagpipes. Wow. And you think he's referring to Greenway's funeral. And then we learn that no, that was what Webb got. And Greenway is just kind of anonymously buried nearby, which I think is a nice, like, good kind of bittersweet thing to go out on.
Yeah. And the one M line that I like was she said, spies live and die in the dark, James. If you want medals, join the Olympics.
Good line for sure.
And he should. Next game.
He would crush it.
James Bond ski jumps. Yeah.
High jump, long jump. He'd eat all that up.
Cool 007 lore as well. He was the 7th recruit. Thought that was cool.
Did we like that as why he took him 007?
She offered him 001, but he didn't want it.
Yeah.
To respect the people that came before him. I like that.
Super cool.
Admiral,
and of course the suit.
Of course. Admiral Akbar Snack Bar says that we should have been told Greenway was 007, and then he chose the number for that reason.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That would have been cool too.
It was, again, just the fact that we never heard about the recruits after the first mission did make it feel like it came a little out of nowhere.
Yeah,
Maybe
right.
If we had been in contact with them more, or because I was like, did the other recruits die, or are they just like fine? Yeah.
Right. Yeah, it's like Bond doesn't really remember what happened with them, but he wants to honor them. Yeah, interesting. Wumpa Juice says the final cutscene is an awkward Bond naming himself Han Solo moment, but it also wonderfully sets up the idea of the overarching Spectre villain for the rest of the trilogy and firmly and confidently cements Patrick Gibson's Bond as the agent you trust with every problem, as it should be. The theme tune drop, the gun barrel sequence, the James Bond will return. I couldn't be happier to see where Io goes next.
Yeah.
James Bond will return is so funny because it's like, look, I don't even know if they're making another game, but like, I'm confident that's correct. I don't think this is the last time I see the character James Bond.
I like that that's a thing with that IP. It's just so cocky and confident, and even if we have $0, he'll come back eventually, kind of thing. Yeah.
He lives on in all of us, no matter what. We're probably got a few more things to say on this, but Huber, you've got to head out right about now. Is there any last thoughts you want to?
I can hang for like 10 more.
Okay.
Because I can talk about a little. If you go into the tax sim stuff, I can talk a little bit about that.
Sweet. Yeah. Tax sim, the side modes that suddenly unlocks everything at once here.
Yeah, but overall final thoughts, like we said at the top, really, really strong game, really, really good for a first entry in this potential franchise. Loved just the IO DNA in there. The DNA of, a little bit of Hitman, but like so separate, its own thing. And I just think they fully understand this property. Honestly,
yeah.
Like I like the I'm a Batman. I love Batman the most, but like the Batman games are so good in part because they fully understand the property. And even though these might not be as strong as those games to me, the level at which they understand the James Bond property is as good as Rocksteady and Batman, or even Insomniac and Spider-Man. Like, I trust them fully to make any James Bond content from here on out 100%. Like, they really honored it. They really modernized it. It has such high expectations from so many different sectors of the internet and everything, and I think they really crushed it for this first time through.
Yeah, Richard wrote in with something that I'm thinking about with that. The boat ride into the resort caught my attention and pulled me into a new environment. I spent time walking around the resort, checking out my room in the Tranquility Cave. This is back in the Time Today section. If this were a movie, I might have wanted the character to spend more time just chilling before the action starts, but since it's a game, I could take whatever amount of time felt right for me individually before moving on. The control I had over pacing really stood out at this part. And yeah, when you're talking about how well they understand the franchise and stuff and how it really does feel like James Bond, that's when these types of property tie-ins become really exciting, because then you're spending all the time you want in QLab and really feeling like you are in this world with full freedom to explore it in a way that IO does so well in Hitman 2, of course.
Totally. It never felt like pandering. It just felt like really honoring it all, and like Haley said, like this is one of the best James Bonds. Like he is so awesome.
I love him. Yeah.
Yeah. I really
like
love him
him.
too. I really
Yeah.
feel that love. Yeah, I love him. Like,
Yeah.
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 I think they had a really hard task of taking their previous development work of as expansive as possible, as infinite gameplay as possible, create something that someone like Leo Vader could put 1,000 hours in and it would still want to play, and then make that experience on tracks. Like that sounds like, well, you have everything in the world, just put it on tracks. But I think that must have been really hard to do for it to feel different from Hitman, but still have the IO charm of what they do and making things immersive and anecdotal. And this happened to me, no, and this happened to me. I bet that was extremely difficult, and I think they did a great job of it. And I think it's honestly a compliment. My biggest complaint is you weren't doing IO stuff enough. Like your boss fights were too, let's do what other developers do. Let's have the mission where we hide and pop out and shoot whatever. It's like, that's not what you guys do though. Like be more confident in what you guys do great, which is like these great vistas, really unique gameplay that's immersive and has a lot of different ways to do one thing. And like, it's very easy for me to say, just make boss fights like that. I'm sure it's still insanely complicated, but you did it in the early half of the game, and I loved it. So, yeah, I don't feel like you need to copy other studios.
You're so right. Like, what if one of the boss fights was just a Hitman-style assassination?
Yeah.
Like, you need to assassinate this target, James, and then
he's
you
leaving
have
in
like
5 minutes.
so many different ways to do it. You could set up a cross with a sniper rifle, or go in with a pen or something and like stab him really quick, or poison his food or something. Like that could have been a cool boss fight.
Yeah, the hard part being it's like in public. It's in a situation where it's hard to get the drop on.
And you have no license to kill, so you can't kill anyone else. Like it's that could have been interesting, and I get why they don't necessarily just want to put too much Hitman in this. I feel like they would have gotten opposite flack for it. So I want to give them their flowers in that it does feel really different, but mainly just the boss fights, really. They were so clunky, and I think it's because they were trying to be something they're not. And it's just play on your strengths.
Yeah, that's such a sequel thing. I can so picture us saying in 4 or 5 years, remember those boss fights in the first one? I'm so glad there's nothing like that in this.
Yeah.
Let's cross our fingers.
Well, yeah, I hope that there are sequels. PC Gamer had an article and an interview with someone from Amazon that was basically like, we didn't own Bond when they were working on this, so they self-published this one. We would self-publish anything in the future, and they stopped short of saying like what they think about IO or them doing their job. They said they really want to tie it into video. They're going to make great experiences. And PC Gamer said that the one game that they cited as an example of that was an AI-powered Snoop Dogg game where he's a judge. and I just worry that
my game of the year.
Are they going to see the value of this and the sales and think like, well, yeah, let's totally invest and give IO the kind of control they had here, or let's make an AI bullshit app that,
should be
James
so
Bond gives you
tragically
dating
ironic.
advice or some crap like that.
Yeah,
or both.
I
or
think
both.
that quote came out like really soon after the game released, and I think there was maybe some addition to it where someone said like, look, we're not saying that we are not going to do another IO game, just that they started doing this before we owned the property. My understanding is this game has sold really well. The subreddit for it, as someone who looks at like subreddits for new games, is shockingly popular and well used. I mean, like 500,000 people are like currently visiting it and whatever. So it's like it's making an impact. And I like
all we need is for the CEO of Amazon to understand those things and what makes a good game. And we'll
unfortunately, he is the villain of every James Bond movie ever. And so it doesn't seem likely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I suspect that the whole concern about that is going to end up being pretty overblown just from how clearly successful it is. And if it isn't, absolute worst case scenario, we all know IO did an amazing job with a hard to master property, and they go back to making Hitman the best game ever made. So I really kept trouble summoning caring
kind of
about
a win-win.
that. Yeah. We will all be fine. And people
speaking of
Hitman,
boss fights too, the Arkham Asylum boss fights were lackluster, and then it was Arkham City, the sequel, that really elevated those.
That's true.
So,
interesting. Good
definitely.
point.
Like it was clearly a note. They were like, yeah, we really messed up on those boss fights. Let's really make those better in the next one.
Yeah, cool. Quick Texan thoughts, Huber, before you go?
Yeah. Pretty bare bones at the moment.
Yeah.
But I'm cautiously optimistic about it. I love the hand-to-hand combat in this game so much, as I've been saying for the duration of the deepest dive. So I like the smaller ones, not the full-blown operations, but the escalations, where you're just like fist fighting a bunch of enemies. Like, it reminds me of the Batman Arkham free flow challenges, where you're just like fighting enemies. Like, give me one where there's just like unlimited enemies pouring in, go for a high score, survive as long as you can. Like, I want stuff like that. But yeah, I'm eager to talk to you a little bit about it, Leo, just because I like the idea of the modifiers. I think that's cool. The one in the laundry room where you can only use your bullets, so you have a limited amount of bullets, I think is really interesting.
But you can still throw enemy guns.
Yeah, the enemies hit harder, so it's like, wow, I can brute force a little bit here, but if I make even one or two mistakes, like, I'm toast. They take you out really fast. It just feels a little bare bones for now, and that it's they're clearly going to update this and work on this.
Yeah, sure. It's like 4 hours of content, including doing every single challenge right now.
Yeah.
And there's no real choices you have to make with unlocking things. It's cool there are upgrades in it, but it's just like, as you unlock the ability to get them, you definitely have enough currency to get them. So yeah. I would be curious if they can make it a little more of an endless mode versus a check in for an extra hour once every few weeks or months.
Yeah. I think everybody wants some nostalgia here, like old James Bond locations. I think would just be the coolest thing. I think that would get people really hyped. Such a thing where it's like, oh, I haven't played First Light in 4 months, but now they're adding the facility in the tax sim from GoldenEye. Like, I'm reinstalling, I'm hopping back in for that. Something special. Just like the elusive targets in Hitman. I mean, I'll step away from that game for a while, and then they'll have some really cool Sean Bean or Lashif elusive target. So incentivizing you a lot to come back to it. And as long as that stuff's like free, I think that's really cool, because my other job, I work with a lot of people who just like will play a couple games a year at most. And one of my buddies played First Light and he finished it and he really liked it, but he was like, yeah, it was so short,
Yeah.
And so I think having the tax sim in the back pocket to add replayability in some form is a step in the right direction, but they definitely need to flesh it out.
Yeah, but got high hopes. They've been so good at supporting Hitman. It would be foolish to cast aspersions at this so early. What do you want to plug? What are you doing at Easy Allies tonight, and what have you been doing?
Easy Allies will be tomorrow. We're doing community showcase. We're doing group stream. Last week we played Mecha Chameleon. Definitely check that out. That's the one we like hide in the environment. Super fun. And then Thursday will be the podcast. So that's
awesome. Well, thanks so much for joining us.
So much. Love talking to you guys. Obsessed. So yes, MinnMax, hype it up, viewers and listeners. Support MinnMax, support the deepest dive. And I hope, when the First Light sequel or the next Hitman, Leo, gets announced.
Ooh.
Deepest dive. Let's go.
Oh, my heart.
Yeah.
Can't wait. Sure. Thank you so much, Huber. Been so fun to have you here.
Thanks, Huber.
Yeah, thank you guys so much. Have a good one.
Later. Sorry I didn't have him clap, guys, but Huber's gone. I'll just be very clear and transparent. Huber's no longer here.
No clap occurred.
That's as transparent as you can be. He is not on the call anymore.
And I aim to be completely transparent. I did not maintain 100%. I did not make deepest dive history.
It's okay. It's okay.
Partially because of running out of time.
Beat yourself up about it. Don't worry.
I'm kicking my ass about it.
Oh, no.
I don't know that I will or would, though, still, even if I had more time. Some of the challenges in this section were a little more frustrating, and I didn't...
What's an example?
Yeah, like what?
The section where you are kind of raising and lowering servers. It's an early gunfight in the Antarctica mission, early in that series of many gunfights towards the end. There's challenges for getting 4 takedowns without alerting people. That I either wasn't doing right or just weren't popping, and it was so difficult that it was frustrating to like finally kind of get it, and then it still wasn't popping. I don't know. It was kind of not just the difficulty of the challenges, but the difficulty of getting to them. There's 1 2 in that section that's like, I forget what it is, the grainers. It's like do no gunshots in the grainers and utility room, and you go into the chapter select and there's nothing called either of those things. That's very frustrating. And hopefully that stuff will get streamlined down the road.
Because that's like the appeal is you could just hop into any level, or at least early on with all the challenges. It felt very like, oh, I'll just load into this one chapter select thing and I'm 5 feet away and I'll knock this one out. It sounds like that kind of went away.
Yeah, I don't know why that changed, because early on it did not seem like it would be that much of an issue. Yeah.
I mean, it does feel like in general, I just feel like the beginning of this game maybe it has a lot more polish and ideas than the end of it.
Definitely.
I think obviously we love the training montage so much. There's kind of not anything that stylish in the later half of the game, but a lot of things. It feels like it's, I think playing the first half of this game, you're like, this is, one of the most innovative and exciting AAA games I've played in years. And I don't think it totally keeps up that energy. And it's interesting to hear that even in this kind of like back end of it, maybe they were rushing to the finish a little bit.
Maybe, yeah. I was feeling that in the Antarctica, getting the IDs, how fewer options there were than earlier similar missions.
And how easy it was to walk up to something and not be ready for it yet. Like I walked up to the guy in the stall and it was like thing hidden to what I could say to him. And I was like, well, that doesn't feel quite good. So now I did like 3 loops of it. And it turns out I just had to
you just know like,
outside.
okay, I guess there's something I'll learn to say to this guy.
Yeah. Whereas, in early, it always kind of felt like things were very well developed in a way to zhuzh me the direction where I encountered that thing first. And then by the time I found the other person, I already knew that. So it felt natural, and there was definitely times more early on where, I don't know about you guys, but in the level with like where you had to get the $100,000, the place where you go to do the meeting with the art guy, I got there early and it's just like empty if you get there early.
Oh, interesting.
So I did like 5 loops of that area being like, there's something, there's a playing card back here or something. And it's a decently sized area. And it was quite literally nothing to pick up, nothing to do. Nothing had procced to me be able to interact with it yet because the game hadn't let me interact with the section yet because I hadn't triggered whatever gets the art guy to go over there. And I was in there for like 10-ish minutes. And I was like, this sucks. Like, it was kind of what those situations were rare in the start and they became a little more common later on, of just the downfall of having things be on track is like on tracks, on rails, is if the level isn't like perfectly designed, you're going to have kind of clumsy moments like that.
I feel that for sure. One thing we absolutely should talk about before this deepest dive is over, JG writes in, I understand why it hasn't been mentioned so far because it is criminally underserved by the encounter design. However, the sabotaging doors mechanic is incredible. Going loud in a room and sabotaging all entrances to prevent backup arriving feels great. Totally a mechanic which needs to be in the next Hitman with endless possibilities and a wider sandbox. I didn't even think of using it that way.
I didn't
know what this does. So sabotage means they can't open the door?
Mm-hmm. Right. Which, if they're aggroed, they can still call reinforcements from behind it. But if you lock them in there, do a distraction so they go in there, break off the door handle, they're like, too embarrassed to call reinforcements. And they're just essentially taken out of the encounter when you do that. And you can do that on any door because Bond still has the option to kick it. It's just a louder thing that's going to pull people over. But it's so smart how you can effectively lock a door, but without ever worrying about locking yourself out of the gameplay. It really would fit super well in Hitman.
That's very funny. I assumed that it was just somehow like if they opened the door, it would like fall on them or something. I thought it was like booby trapping.
Oh
no, you lock them in.
I only used that once in the like the level where you have to get the guy to get away from the meeting so I can go have the meeting, I did put him in a closet with the alcohol and then broke the door and left him in there. But that was the only time I used it, and it felt very intentional.
Yeah.
And Loki kind of forgot that it was something I could do, which is a testament to the game that you can do so much stuff that I forgot one of the awesome tricks I could have been using.
It is one of the most Hitman-like mechanics for sure.
So Leo, how did you have you done all the escalations that were unlocked in the tax sim?
I have. I did all the levels of those and most all the challenges, and then there's 2 like side missions in there too that I've done nearly all the challenges.
Because I started those, and it was just I had done the ones that you unlocked at the beginning of the game, and not the ones at the end. And there's the one where you're on the pirate ship, and I was like, oh, good. I like doing stuff on the ship, doing the stealth missions, whatever. And then it just kind of hit the one where it was like one of the modifiers was ceasefire, which just meant if anyone shot a gun, you lost. And I did that like 3 times, and I was like, I'm not having fun at all. And then I stopped doing them.
Jacob, it hurts my heart to hear this only because you're so right. Because Hitman has side content called escalations that I've always defended. There's some really cool ones. They work really similarly of here's the basic version of it, twist on it, twist on it. But some of those twists are like instantly fail if this happens, stuff that isn't present in the main game at all. That becomes really frustrating for people. And then to have them bring that over here with the same name and have a complication like that is going to piss a lot of people off is worrying. Is worrying as far as their awareness of their strengths. I don't know. Don't want to be doomsaying about it, but yeah, you hate to see that be a problem with Hitman 2016 and be a problem in this too.
Yeah.
Because you can make a fun escalation. They've done it tons of times, and ton of the other ones in this are fun. The Antarctica one is about throwing people off of ledges, and they add more people and different ways to do it. And you like have to own. One of the challenges is every kill has to be throwing people off of a ledge, and doing it with 5 shoulder charges and 5 kicks, which is like the press and the long press, which is a little complicated. You kind of have to line that up in a fun way. That's a fun use of the mechanics. So that most of them I would say are worth playing. And they're all, missions that are already in the game, basically. The solo side missions are one in the laundry room, one in the garden party courtyard thing. And it's pretty much exactly like those missions were, with slightly rearranged guys, slightly more guys, but not that different. But it is fun just to replay those exact little chunks and go for different challenges. But it's really not that much as far as additional content, really. More of a rework. So yeah, it does feel a little empty at this point.
Did you get the platinum?
I'm playing on Steam, so I don't know what that is.
Oh, of course.
It's an easy platinum,
right? It's a really
right?
cool Sony thing.
Oh.
I'm a Sony girl. No, I don't know.
Jealous.
I like the platinums for these games. Yeah, we looked it up, or Michael looked it up when we were talking about it last, and it's only a 2 out of 10 on whatever that website is. I have a feeling if I just did a couple more mission things, I probably would naturally get it. It sounds like it's as long as you beat the game and do a couple extra little silly things, it's pretty easy to get.
Not even all the challenges, yeah.
They're just kind of collect all postcards, unlock all MI6 files, collect all mementos, collect all playing cards. It's not super exciting, but
kind of more Horizon Zero Dawn Platinum sounds like.
Yeah.
Just collect all the rocks on the map. But I like IO for their platinums. They're no thinky, nice, relaxing platinums.
Right on.
Yeah.
More final thoughts from the doc here, from our lovely patrons. Along what we were saying, Ryan O says, I thought the game's environment started off really strong, but towards the end, with the exception of Vietnam, felt like multiple levels of offices, hallways, and industrial pipes and machinery. Ended on a slightly sour taste. Reminded me of how so many Resident Evil games seemingly have to end in a lab. Yeah, sure.
I was a little nervous going into Antarctica, because we already kind of had a snow area, and I was like, man, is this going to be like snow area again? But the architecture for all like the public facing area felt quite cool. The places where those guests were hanging out, I was like, this looks really neat. And then the further you get into the more tech sided of it, I got a little bit like, this kind of just seems like a warehouse, a really rich person's warehouse, but still kind of just
did you
the
like
server
that there
over
was
and over.
They did the stairs thing again with the same cat statue. I thought that was very funny. I'm like, I know what that cat statue is.
And it's the only thing in the room, so obviously it does something. Yeah, that was funny.
Something that I was kind of getting tired of by the end of the game is I think that I'm happy to do all of the kind of climbing and clambering and hanging from ledges when you are actively maneuvering around a level, like, oh, I'm going to hang off this balcony so the guy doesn't see me when he walks by. That's a fun decision. But like the amount of just kind of Uncharted style, like we just have to make it take a little longer for you to get somewhere. So you're going to climb up this stuff. And it's like the Antarctica stuff was actually pretty. And so I didn't mind that too much. But where it really stuck out is Moneypenny is stabbed and potentially dying. And then in this, what seems like it should be a climactic thing, you instead go and like climb in a bunch of elevator shafts. And I was just like, this is totally killing the kind of emotional pacing of the scene. To not, because if you ran right from there to Q's lab and exploded everything, I think that actually would have been like a really nice, like, oh my gosh, the most heightened pacing, and then I'm gonna kill all these guys, I'm gonna use all the turrets against them. But just kind of like, maybe it's a loading screen thing, maybe it's just kind of a padding out the runtime of the game thing. But like, I don't know why we got to climb so many pipes. It's not really fun. It's just a thing that happens.
That stuck out to me too. Like whatever design sensibility makes them think that it's important for the pacing to have things laid out like that, it's not serving it in such an important moment of the game. Yeah.
When you were going to get one of the computers, I guess it was the one in the Arctic one, you climbed through, like, it feels like you're climbing through the Death Star for like 20 minutes and you have to like hack a bunch of control panels to turn off charged cables and whatever. And it was like, it did the another pet peeve thing that I have in video games of like, how does James Bond know where the hell he's going in here? It's like, oh, well, clearly I have to go in the hole that was 3 levels up. That's going to take me to the next giant core. And it's like, I'm just following normal video game logic of I have to climb up the yellow thing or the blue thing or whatever. But there's not even a story reason for it, or it's just you're just dragging things out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. June Hats.
But that can't be where we leave it.
I know we can't end it.
Let's say some fun stuff.
Yeah. June Hats writes in, for me personally, this is my current game of the year, combining iOS gameplay with a legitimately standout Bond story. But since Ben Hansen isn't here to ask, where do y'all predict this is going to land on the 210s?
That's a good question.
I think the first 10 below or down.
That's what I was thinking too.
I could see it being kind of like an 8.
Mm-hmm. A lot of people having played it is a plus. I don't think
that always
we have
helps.
Many haters of it.
No, I mean, I could see myself talking it down because that is sometimes the role that I play on the 210s. But like, I like it as a game. I think it's good, but it definitely does have. It has more things you can poke at just because it is a big ambitious game, and some of those things work and some don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think in a 210s conversation, it's maybe going to be missing the one person who's super, super passionate about it, like Kyle was with Ghost of Yotai, which ended up in that kind of lower top 10 spot last year.
Yeah.
But might have the groundswell of support. And it might be like amongst other things, we might be able to say, it does this a lot better. Like it's going for cooler things than other similar AAA things that we're juggling it against.
I think since our metric is so passion-based, it's going to get dinged because nobody's going to scream how great it is in those final moments when we're all tired and we just are trying to figure out what to do. But we'll all be like, well, wait a second. No. Yeah, XYZ. The best level, like early levels are 10 out of 10. The story is fantastic. He's my new favorite Bond. And Ben will be like, he's your new favorite Bond and no one thinks this game's great. Like he'll say something like that and we'll go, yeah, I think low 10s is a decent prediction.
Mm-hmm. I do think really highly of it. It's my number 2, probably right behind Station to Station right now.
I would rather play another James Bond game than another Uncharted game. Like for all the comparisons, and I think it's always a mistake to try and out Uncharted, or do what Naughty Dog is doing. Like the extra things that IO is bringing to this make it more interesting, and they really got me to care about the character and this franchise that's been in my entire, life growing up with all those stupid movies. So like,
Yeah.
it is exceptionally well done, even if we, are going to nitpick the kind of clunky things.
That's a really interesting thought experiment, because I hadn't, we've compared it to Uncharted a bunch, and I do think that it does many things better. But ultimately, if you put Uncharted 5 or 007 First Light 2 in front of me, I think I'm grabbing Uncharted.
Okay.
I can totally understand it. It's just,
It means something that they haven't released an Uncharted game in like 10 years, and we're still all like,
I don't know.
Uncharted, am I right? Like,
And they're not going to.
Yeah.
It's going to be another 10 years before their next game comes out.
yeah.
Yeah, Andres R. writes in on the Uncharted note, wanted to highlight the good things taken from the Uncharted formula, plus very real improvements. It also has a lot of flavor text that helps flesh out the characters. Good banter can elevate the experience, and it's just a natural fit while moving around. It also has hold that thought, interrupted conversations, resume after whatever got in the way. Yes, that's a prestige PlayStation thing I didn't give them credit for last week. And it improves in that high caliber rounds to the head result in insta-kills no matter how armored the enemy is. And well-placed gunshots allow you to get rid of any enemy in 2 moves. Those are the improvements.
I like that.
I hate when you shoot a guy in the head and he doesn't die in a video game.
Because he has chest armor on.
But like, it really bugs me so much, and I that's true. I want to give Bond credit for it. Of like, it always feels better if like a headshot just puts a guy down, and then you can just make him shoot off a helmet first or something.
Yeah, and it's being able to mix in the punches and slam them into the wall so their helmet pops out, and then you take the gun out and shoot them in the head. That being gamified and yet perfectly immersively realistic how the armor works that way, where you can really tell what's going to happen. Either something's going to happen or nothing's going to happen based on what you can really clearly, visibly read on the enemy.
I thought there was a real intention, too, that if I happen to be a bit sloppy with my aim and shoot somebody in the chest a bunch of times with a bunch of armor, and then decide to finish them off with a couple punches, they go down in 1 or 2 punches, which makes sense. They've just been shot 50 times, like it's not like they're 2 meters that only fill up if you completely only punch him or completely only shoot him. It seems like they try to put care in that it's like a combo of each, which a lot of games don't do.
Yeah. Stuff like the combat, I don't think it has infinite replayability. Sometimes it's really hard, or it's absolutely brain dead easy. Once you just get the rhythm down, you can kind of be toying with enemies, throwing them every which way, knowing what their moves they're like 100% always susceptible to. It can get a little easy in a way that doesn't show like infinite depth, in a way that I wonder how the sequel will improve on that. I've seen a lot of like, this is a great Uncharted 1 for the upcoming Uncharted 2 of 007 Second Light, and I do think there's a lot to be gained there. As far as like the mission formula of the finding the different infiltration points and getting the first piece of it, and then you go to like the underbelly of the map and you have your stealth takedown sequence, and then you kind of reemerge back into the party. Like, I could see that carrying the franchise for I could see that not getting old. That's really well implemented and maintains excitement every time that happens in the game. But yeah, more big missions like that are gonna be continuously exciting. The chess mission, I think, is still probably the best one for me. It really captures everything you want about Bond, and a lot of the Hitman stuff too. It kind of is at its best there.
That one was the one that really felt like I was uncovering and solving a mystery as I was going through, and it wasn't a lot of the later Infiltration. It was like, okay, there's 1 or 2 things that I got to do, and then I pickpocket someone, and then I'm in, and it's done. And that one just had so many story twists in it as well, and a banger actual good boss fight, and that was definitely an early high mark for it.
Any other thoughts? Anything left unsaid for this whole damn game, 007 First Light?
I like its commentary on AI. I thought it was nuanced and interesting, and it's just I don't know about you guys. I'm so tired of Gen AI being a thing right now. Like, I'm so exhausted by it. Like, having to look at everything with 2 eyes and say, "Is this Gen AI? Is this Gen AI?" I'm exhausted of that. So it's fun that we have major big budget things, commentating on this world we've created for ourselves in a very thoughtful way that seems to, not just be one way or the other, because obviously this story is anti-AI, but I think they take the time to be like, even people who mean well in the development of this sort of tech, like those people in that robotics lab saying, oh yeah, we're going to use this to send out first responders into the field, and then they'll ride around in the orb and get there quicker. I'm like, okay, yeah, but that bad people will get their hands on this and it will 100% be used in wars, right? Like it's that kind of nuanced take to it that I really appreciated and was refreshing and just kind of made me feel less depressed about the current state of game development, I suppose.
Mm-hmm. And a case for the human element being valuable, because it's so hard to win that anti-AI argument on when it's clearly so convenient. People who have so much trouble cutting it out in their lives when they rely on it and don't see an issue with it. But really beating the drum of like, yeah, we care about self-driving cars killing one person more than we care about a million people dying in regular car accidents. And that's because there's something worth having about human error. There's like something worth keeping about humans being humans and doing human things. There's a beauty to it that we can't just cut out.
When people kill each other in driving accidents, they go to jail.
Or the cemetery.
There's criminal negligence at play, which should be applied to the corporations, but is not.
Right.
Yeah, I liked how the underlying ethos of this game is James Bond cares about other human beings, and that is friction in a spy network where you're just trying to get in and get out and be done, right? Like you want to get in there, get the job done, leave. But James Bond cares about human beings. Like the underlying issue is James Bond cares too much, and that also is something that's very critical against AI implementations is like, okay, well, yeah, like some people are going to die. So we just got to get in there and get it done. And in the future, it'll be fine. It's like, well, if you're James Bond, no, that doesn't work. We got to help every single person along the way. And that's the opposite of what this tech company is trying to do. And what Webb in his big speech is like, everyone in the future will like me. Everyone in the future is going to say, what a great guy. It's like, okay, but what about the thousands of people you kill in the Intrium? It's like, oh, well, that doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. It's like, well, no, it does matter because those people are living. Like, that's kind of a nice connection between innovations in spycraft or whatever you call it versus innovation in tech. I thought that was cool.
Yeah, I like that. Bond has always been a pretty cynical character, often expressed by him, being skeptical of everyone, not caring about other people that much, whatever. But I like that Bond's cynicism in this game, at least, is directed towards, people who are making kind of impossible promises rather than cynicism at the human condition, which is kind of how it's been expressed in some other Bond media.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like, what if Bond had an uncompromisable moral compass, and that was the only 100% accurate thing of him, no matter what decisions being made? It's like, that feels good. I like that Bond. Of course,
Haley, you would love
Bond.
the Mission Impossible franchise.
Would I know?
Like, literally everything that we're saying. My biggest concern is we're just describing Ethan Hunt. And I'm like, I like this Bond. You can't just make Bond into Ethan Hunt. They have to be separate characters.
Yep, true. Yeah, I can't believe you haven't seen those, Haley. That you should start with 4 and then watch the rest of them because you love it, and then watch the 1 through 3 because you're that big of a fan that you want to see what built up to the ones.
I mean, the first one's great, but watch Haley. It is the best action franchise, and 4 is like one of the best ones ever made.
It gave dad media to me growing up, so I never looked at it. Does that mean to my dad?
As opposed to Bond.
Oh, yeah. Not like hot dad. I see.
No, like my dad's watching Mission Impossible in the living room. I want to go to my room.
Sometimes when you grow up, you learn that your dad had good taste in things.
My dad does have good taste in things, and I did buy him the James Bond Blu-ray set that one Christmas when I had like $0 in my bank account. I bought it for him anyways, and that was.
Did you guys ever watch the 007 Days of Christmas on Spike TV?
No.
That's what I didn't have cable, but when I would go to my grandma's house for Christmas, that Spike TV, which was the television channel for men that would have like shows about like how much do boobs weigh. They would always be doing the 007 Days of Christmas, and that's where I'd watch James Bond movies.
That's cute. I like when things like that become like for my family, it's Lord of the Rings. Like Lord of the Rings is Christmassy to me because we only watch them at Christmas, and it seems like 007 is kind of like that for some people, like you, Jacob, over the holidays, just watching all the 007s. It's one of those kind of things. It has so much reverence that it could be associated with a time of the year. There's very few pieces of media that can do that.
I wouldn't say it's particularly Christmassy. This is just an association with cable television.
Yeah, but like, you know, if I were to watch it or play anything, you know, it has to be like, it's time to watch Lord of the Rings because it's December. Like, why? It's just something my family does. I don't know. I like when things are like that.
Mm-hmm.
I'll try out Mission Impossible. This is a long way to say, okay, I trust you guys.
Nice.
I used to think my dad was lame when I was a teen, and now I'm recognizing that maybe my dad had some cool takes. So maybe I should try out the stuff he likes.
Your dad rocks.
He's pretty cool.
Hug your dad, folks. Thanks so much for listening to the 007 First Light Deepest Dive. So glad we did this. So much going on at MinnMax lately. My God, more hours of content than there are hours in the day.
So true.
We just had the Dead by Daylight travelogue go up, both the regular version for everybody and the extended version for patrons, Haley and Sarah, all up and down Montreal.
Montreal. Ben was sending us clips while he was editing it, just being like, well, this isn't obviously making it in, but I liked this moment just because we're being too inappropriate and stuff like that. So all the more reason to get the Backstage Pass version, because I think he left all that in there. So go have fun.
Yes, he said it's his favorite one so far.
That's
He's
very
really excited
sweet
about it. Yeah. Great banter with you and Sarah.
She's my little travel buddy.
Nice.
Travel sized. That's what I love about Sarah Pazorski.
Aw.
Little travel sized buddy.
We had our new show plus poll this week. That was 30 options from all the shows that the Leo Win show beat. So we'll have that go up this week, and also the results of the charge shot from last week. We'll reveal what that is after we go and shoot it this Wednesday night. There's a little tease for you.
Ooh.
Thanks, Haley. Thanks, Jacob. Thanks, Jeffem. Thanks, Huber. Posthumously.
Thank you,
Why
Leo.
Leo should host all of them. That one comment alone.
Great job hosting, Leo.
Thanks,
you. Leo.
Thank you all for speaking. This is fun.
It was a great time. What a great game to talk about. Very perfect splits, and everyone was excited about it. Lovely game for a deepest dive.
Yeah, it may be weird pace and weird stopping points that I do appreciate folks' patience on it. It's hard to figure that out on the fly. But we made it, and now we are all
Good job.
official 00 agents. Let's shoot them, folks.
Bam, 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 bam.
Blam, blam, blam.